ESL One Cologne is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, MSI, DHL, Alienware, Betway, Logitech G, and Pay Safeguard.
ESL One Cologne.
Now, Alex Machine Richardson is the champion of the quiz. And you know what? That means Duncan was kind enough to let Alex give this away down here on the tournament floor of ESL One Cologne. Now, with that being said, Alex, we have two competitors here. We have Frank, we have Johnny, and well, we're gonna make these guys battle it out, huh?
That's the plan. So we have a big jersey and a Cloud9 jersey. I kind of feel sorry for this guy, so maybe I'm kind of rooting for him.
You know what? I would say that's a fair assessment. Wasn't the best showing for Cloud9, but whatever. That's not what we're here to debate today. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. Now, Alex, would you please do the honors of opening the box and showing the continents, if at all possible?
How about you two help me?
There we go. Yeah, I like that. Ooh. Yeah. Got some swag here. Okay, so we've got two MSI motherboards, as you can see. Beautiful products, thank you very much, MSI. And now you two will have the opportunity to win one. What do you think about it? Is that fair? Okay. Now, there's a classic game, we say in America, probably say here in Germany too. Paper, rock, scissors, or rock, paper, scissors. You guys feel confident in your abilities? All right, let's get it going. Alex, you are the officiator.
I'll count you down. Are you ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Let's just go ahead and get a redo. That was really, that was not good. All right, let's run it back.
So we're going on shoot, okay? You ready? Rock, paper, scissors, dudes. Okay, here we go.
Strike two down here in the audience. This is for all the marbles.
Okay, here we go. So, rock, paper, scissors, blah, blah, blah. Okay? You ready? Are you ready? Guys, can we do it with them? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! We have a winner! Congratulations!
Oh dear! Congratulations to the Cloud9 fan. Quite a bit of a victory for Cloud9 today, I would say so myself. Either way, we have the next matchup coming up. I think all of Germany's ready for big to get this bad boy underway, and we're gonna be doing that in just a few seconds, so don't go anywhere.
I'm speechless. The feeling are just amazing. It's like, it felt like a major, but it felt 100 times better because we know we are playing in front of our home crowd now, and it was more intense than ever, and it was the best game I've ever played in my career.
First objective coming here was to go through the group stage. Basically, we're super happy that we achieved that, and now we're just gonna enjoy the Lanxess Arena. The biggest issue we had was probably the fact that we lost a lot of anti-ecos. We almost lost Dust2 against Mouse Sport because of that. So yeah, we obviously are not perfect. We played really good, but we still made mistakes.
I could have played better, but at the end we still made it, and I'm very proud of my team. Everyone stepped up when it was needed. Everyone had his scene, and everyone communicated very good. I always believed every second in my team, and I felt like we will win 100% because we didn't give up. They have a very good team leader. Existence is one of the best in-game leader in the scene, I think, and he put his players in a very good position. We practice a lot against them, and we kind of know how they play, but I still think they need more time to prepare for that. It will be a very good game.
We're not really scared of anyone. We know every team's weaknesses, every team's strength. Personally, I had a lot of memories there. That was the first time I saw a stage like that, a crowd like that in 2015. Since I lost that final, I already told myself that it would be a dream to win here, because everyone here breathes Counter-Strike. Winning here is as big as the winning major.
If I put my feet on the stage tomorrow in the whole German crowd, I will be shaking for sure. I believe we will play way stronger. We will feel the energy in the arena, and I believe that we can maybe win the tournament as well.
It's time for what Cologne has been waiting for, what Big have been waiting for a fair few years. They made it. It was a war of attrition for them, not only to get here to, of course, the grand stage, but also all the events past and previous where these teams or this organization in various forms have tried to go ahead and find that home crowd. And now they have an opportunity. Whether or not it's a possibility is what my analysts are for. I do have Janko YNK Paunovic looking fly like a wise guy, and we do, of course, once again, returning to the desk, Duncan Thorin Shields. Gentlemen, this is an intriguing one. I actually wouldn't, well, not necessarily predicted it, but after that MIBR series, I'm starting to think it's within the realms of possibility that Cologne get a good show.
Absolutely. I think it's even plausible because looking at their opponents, you know, G2, a team that maybe a month or two from now, I will consider them a heavy favorites. But right now, at this stage of that team as well, these are two very similar teams. You know, both have storied, experienced team game leaders who like to play with a lot of structure. I think the one thing that differentiates them the most is that G2 has more firepower, but when you look at the styles, they're very similar.
Yeah, both tactical teams, both old school leaders. You even look at the map pool, like, we don't really know how far G2's map pool goes. They didn't have to exploit that. Big's actually shown us a little bit, but even then, what they're tending to go into is kind of the opposite of the Astralis guys. So there's a little bit of overlap, but generally that's when you get the 3-game series, is when there's not pure overlap, and you're not going to get a 2-0 from whoever's on form. So I think a very good chance for a 3-map series, and obviously a unique semi-finalist coming up.
I couldn't agree with any more. And I think actually, you know, it's an interesting conversation. When you take a look at this G2 roster, it was ECS where we got a little glimpse of what this new roster would look like. 4 days of practice. There is quite a difference, Duncan, between that performance and this, looking like a team that can contend and can put up results. Does that surprise you that there's been such a quick turnaround after being let down time and time again?
It made sense to me that they would start off so slow, because they even said we didn't have proper time for a real boot camp to get all the system in place. And if you're going to, first of all, resurrect 2 players from the dead in existence and Smiths, who haven't been playing Tier 1 Counter-Strike for many years now, you're going to have to give them time to get back into the basic playing form, and that only comes at tournaments. Doesn't matter how much your DM, like Smith said he was doing, that's not going to get you into shape. Then you've got to add in that they're even bringing Shox back. That's already a condition most people had on paper. If they're going to have a chance, Shox has to be amazing. He's coming off wrist surgery. He also hasn't played at all, basically, in 2018 since the major. So you've got a lot of factors that you are waiting to come online, as it were. Now they've had a boot camp. Now they've had a few different opponents to play against some top-level teams. We're starting to see signs. I agree with Janko. Maybe in a month from now is when you can start to judge what their peak form is going to be. And
talking of peak form, peak Kenny S, of course, yet to necessarily resurface. But my question is, why has he not necessarily been such a huge part of this conversation? Used to, when we talk about a French roster, we talk about the power of Kenny in the same way we talk about the power of Simple. Have we lost that, or is that just yet to be discovered?
I think his team has fell off, right? So he didn't stand out as much individually, and we always talk about how, on average, the skill level is so much higher. So the way he could dominate opponents before, mostly Tier 2, Tier 3, even some of the Tier 1 teams, that just can't happen anymore. And I think, you know, he is the main reason why they got to the playoffs, because in that series versus Mousesports, he was the one who had his best series ever since late 2017. And when you look at how close some of those maps were, he was definitely the deciding factor there.
Has he lost his touch, Duncan, or has everyone else just caught up?
I mean, I've said this on podcasts before, so it's not like hidden information. He even admitted it in an interview with me. He has lacked motivation for about a year and a half. Yes, because obviously they've had those teams that have been up and down, and crucially, as you see with bringing Existence back as kind of a last chance move, they didn't really know where to go with in-game leader style. Even the playing style had clearly degraded for them. Other teams were making much better use of that, the FaZe Clans of the world. They were actually a kind of a team where when they force sport, it became a meme. So as a result, he was on a team that was stuck force spying all the time, so he's not getting his AWP. Then when he gets his AWP, they're not really a team that's very structured, so they're not set up around him as much. And then he's lacking in terms of in-game leadership, firepower. So many factors that, I mean, yes, I think if you're a true professional, you should always put in a certain amount of time. But this is someone who, I mean, just quite frankly, he's so talented, he can get back to the top, even if he has a time off. So I think now that he's in a team where he's with Shox, so he's got that as a proper aspect, he's got his old in-game leader Existence who knows how to use him, I think you're going to start to see, give Kenny S a few months, and maybe he can be vying with Simple for that #1 status.
And an interesting conversation on the other end of the stage is Big. I mean, they've not only brought in a UK Counter-Strike, often referred to as pretty much a meme and only ever features in discussions when we're taking the mickey out of it, but we do. There's a United Kingdom flag stepping onto this quarterfinal stage with the German roster.
Yeah, Big decided to play the game on nightmare mode, really. But I think for them, up until that point when they played MIBR, you could say, yeah, they play Liquid best of 1, then Renegades best of 3. But I mean, grinding out a win against MIBR, who we always regard as a team, the Brazilians being one of the hardest teams to put down, especially on a map like Inferno. That was their best map coming into this tournament. Even if they're struggling as a team, Inferno was really strong for them. So to go into double overtime and still have the mental fortitude right after some iffy rounds to stay persistent and to grind that win out, I think that's their greatest feat so far as a team.
I mean, does it speak volumes about their capacity for pressure? I mean, Duncan, they managed to go double overtime on Inferno versus essentially SK Gaming. I mean, they've changed the roster, they've got Stewie in, but it's not too far off.
Well, one of the things that they always have had going for them with God B is this is a guy who's going to put in all the hours studying the opponent, come up with his own strats, always has a deep playbook. You always see nice Molotovs, flashes that you don't see from all the other teams in the scene. He's not just copying someone else's style. So if you've got one of those good in-game leaders, you're going to have a chance on T-side. He's going to know how to kind of skew the game, what tempo to go out, which player to go off, to give you a shot to do it. So I think you had the ingredients for a grind out there. My big issue is this, when you say about pressure, that wasn't a stage match. That wasn't in the Lanxess, that was just in the tournament area, and it was in the group stage. Sure, it's best of 3, so you forget, that we do this in group stages now. So my big concern is this, the guy who was the standout fragger in that series against MIBR was Nex. And this is a guy who was absolutely admitted himself from his time in Mouse Sports that he had problems when it was the big stage matches, when all the pressure was on him, when all the lights were on him. So you can't really describe him, even though he was great in the last game. He hasn't really been a big game player, and that's going to be a problem if you play for big and this is a big game. So I think he might have to prove something different to me if he wants to go head-to-head with a Kenny S, a Shocks, these veteran players on a stage environment.
And I want you guys to prove your worth to me now. Put your heads together, combine knowledge for the vetoes. Is this an easy one, Janko?
I think there's a few fairly obvious options.
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting one because Big always vetoes Mirage, right? And that's a map that G2 would have liked to avoid.
They don't want to play that either.
We don't know where Nuke stands for either team, so does Big take the risk of G2 not picking Mirage and then just veto Dust 2, because that seems to be the go-to map for G2 at the moment. Very strong performance versus Mouse Sports. Took Astralis to overtime even, with a great comeback in the second half. So that might be a way in for them to throw a curveball, because I don't really see G2 picking Mirage if that's left open. And what's going to happen with Nuke?
I mean, every leader tends to veto differently. Is he known to be someone that will kind of take that float or try the punish?
Existence, actually, especially in this current team at the moment, seems to be fairly conservative in his veto, primarily because most people aren't banning Dust 2, so he's just been willing to pick it, play it, and then it looks like the other map that they're willing to play is Inferno. So those should both be available in this series. They're not maps that the big guys have been banning. Meanwhile, the guys from Big, they've actually floated their veto around a little bit, and they've changed their picks up. They have kind of been willing to go everywhere because I think they understood they were the underdog. So they've been willing to try and go into the trains of this world, etc. Obviously, they're not going to get to play it against G2. Almost certainly going to be their permaban. So for me, the interesting part is there's overlap on Dust 2. They've both played those. I feel like both don't mind Inferno. The real question for me is more the Big side. Like, do they go straight into Cash, for example, if that's available?
Yeah, I think
that might be a decent choice.
Yeah, I think Cash or Overpass for them as a pick, probably Cash, but for G2, I think they have a problem if Big vetoes Dust 2. What do they pick?
Yes.
If they pick Inferno, I think they could get it as a third if they want to pick something else. But
what else is there?
What else would
Nuke?
Be that?
You mean
map?
we don't know?
Yeah, the French teams have been notorious for playing Nuke, even the old G2 and the old Envious lineup, right? So I don't know how this particular lineup feels about that.
Looks like you got some answers. Bye-bye Mirage. Big are not playing any games. They're not willing to bend the
I think
knee.
that was a silly ban, personally. Like, I absolutely agree with Janko. It's almost certain that G2, especially a team just coming into it, first time trying to get comfortable, and I don't think they're going to go ahead and pick Mirage.
Fair. See where
Especially
it goes.
because you don't think G2, those players that are on that lineup, they're not going to be scared of the players on Big, right? So if you have a map that is a great map for them, and a good map for you, you're just going to pick it because you feel like you're the better team. So yeah, I agree. I think they should have vetoed Dust 2 instead of Mirage.
So this was the map Cash that Big managed to take MIBR out in a 16-9 fashion. They had 10 CT rounds. They looked very comfortable on that map, and that will be the one.
I think this is a good punish. I mean, you don't really know that it's a punish necessarily unless you play them in practice, but it's one they haven't shown us yet. It's one that, unless you go way back to Titan, you weren't really seeing from any Existence teams. Dust 2, it was available. It's the obvious pick. They beat, did they play Na'Vi on it? Was that the one they played? I might be forgetting that
Na'Vi
one.
was Inferno.
They beat Mouse Sports on it, though. Yes, so, I mean, this is the obvious pick, but it's also a map that Big likes, so Big's absolutely happy with this being the pick. And then I'm hoping for Inferno as the other side. I think that would be the most fun, obvious outcome here.
I think we're going to get it, unless Big wants to veto it and then force G2 to pick between Nuke and Overpass. Which
That's pretty brutal.
Because if you want to get Overpass before Inferno. But that just seems like a big risk. If they didn't veto Dust 2 in the first phase, I don't see them gambling now in the second phase, because if you would have gambled about anything, you would have gambled by vetoing Dust 2.
Now is where we'll find if Existence is willing to be a little bit more daring, because the actual punish here is to go in a nuke and say, right, we'll play that. The problem is, your Inferno did look pretty good. It's so traditionally been a great map of theirs. Exactly, it's one that Kenny S has always loved. In fact, all the French teams love it. So I feel like just for the sake of comfort, you say, if we get to the third map, let's just play something that we're good on, they're good on as well.
I think it has to be Inferno,
Let's
just because how storied that team is on the map, just in different lineups and everything. And they played well so far on the map in this tournament. And you think about Kenny S, how much he can do even alone on the CT side by moving around. I don't think they're going to go for Nuke.
And also, it was another
traditional third map.
It's another map where you saw from G2, they clearly had put the hours in. Like, they had the setups, they had the two-man peaks. Like, this wasn't one where they were just freestyling it like I thought they were on the Nuke game I saw.
But they played 50 rounds against MIBR. They played 30-plus rounds against Renegade. So Big has exhausted every single strategy that they've had yesterday. So it is going to maybe be a little bit difficult for them. I don't know, sometimes in-game leaders get a bit paranoid when they do that and they want to change things completely. I don't think they should do exactly that, but maybe see what kind of tells do they maybe have in some of the strategies that they would like to avoid being too easy to read.
That's what I like if we get to the third map, is there's already kind of information on display for both teams. You kind of have a sense where people are playing, how they're playing. I get the feeling that it's just going to be a captain's game. It's going to be who's going to win the game within a game, who's going to adapt during the game. If we can get to a third one, I think we could have a really kind of fireworks-packed series.
And I mean, you're setting the scene beautifully for it, but it is somewhat of a chess game. We do have Gob B sitting down at the park bench, and on the other side you have Existence, storied in-game leaders that I'm afraid I am going to pull on that historian string in a moment, sitting down with their tools on display and a semi-final spot on the line. Home crowd for Big, of course, not necessarily going to contribute to the victory, but I'm very interested if you could just kind of remind us that these names have been playing Counter-Strike much longer than some of these people have been watching it.
Yes, and the interesting detail, obviously, is they both come from different games, because you had Gob B in 1.6. He came along, actually, at a time when the German Counter-Strike scene had actually kind of, like, run its course. They didn't really have a good in-game leader left. They lacked, actually, for new talents. That's why he actually brought in his friend Six, who obviously, sadly, is not here anymore. And he was able to make a squad where not only were they tactical, but they had a very well-rounded team. They had almost every player was like skilled in his own area. And crucially, actually in 1.6, Gob B was like a mixture of great in-game leader and star player. He was someone who could kind of call the game around himself and take over matches, as he most famously did when they won the IEM Championship in 2010. Then you go over, obviously, to CS Source. The dominant team for the last few years of CS Source was Very Games. They won something like 40 LANs or something. Existence was a part of the majority of that. He was bringing in the different talents, the Shocks of the world, Kenny S at the very end. He had Smiths with him. He had NBK, RPK, all the Ks. He had all of them at that point in time, and they were a fabulous team. But obviously in CSGO, I mean, he's had some success. At times, they were very, very good. Gob B hasn't had as much success overall in CSGO.
Yeah, and you talk of Source. This is a perfect opportunity for us to introduce what Britain had for Source. He's hanging out at the casting desk. We also have Mr. Sadakis joining as well. The casters, it's Henry G and Sadakis. Give them a warm welcome, Lanxess. Thank you very much.
There we go.
Thank you, Alex. I know they wouldn't have done that without you, so it's good to be here. Look, it is good to be here. Big's going to be on this stage. Last year, they were part of a show match.
Indeed.
They were part of the Meisterschaft final, and there was that whole narrative, oh, maybe one day they can make it. Well, they have.
Well, they were invited here as one of the home teams, and it's amazing to see them in the playoffs. They're going to be here in the arena, and what a map we've got. High fragging, fast-paced action. We've got Dust 2, Cash, and Inferno. That's going to set players like Kenny S up, Struya. It's going to be very exciting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Dust 2's, I'm starting to get back into it, I think, a little bit. I think the meta's developing back to what it used to be. Things are looking a little more organized for each team. Overall, going to be a good series. We know that Big, when they have time to prepare, can catch a lot of teams off. We thought that was going to be the case in this event. They've gone deep, and I'm expecting a little bit out of them today.
The thing is, as well, I think they had that surprise factor coming into this tournament. Now that G2 are aware of their tricks and tendencies, perhaps, I feel like that won't be as effective.
The thing is, G2 as well, being so, I guess, new to this new experiment, this new roster, the changes they've continued to make. How long does their depth go? Do they continue to surprise teams themselves? Do they start to crumble? Do we start to see the weaknesses? This is a test for both teams in finding out about themselves as much as their opponent, I think, Alex.
Yes, indeed. I'm actually really excited to see. I think they've actually painted a nice little picture of them learning about not only their opponents, but also just what kind of level are they at. It's a nice little barometer for them to find out where they are headed and how they have gone so far. Now, before we do go ahead and continue to break it down, of course, focusing on Cash, I'll be probing both Thorin and YNK's minds. But for now, we're going to head over to The View, because it certainly is spectacular from where I'm standing.
Spectacular is exactly the word I think I would use for this view for me and my friend Mr. Moses. Of course, Jason, we've got quite a matchup on our hands here. G2 big on home soil.
Yeah, I mean, I actually got to cast them last Cologne in just the show match, and the crowd loved it, which is going to be cool to see them in an actual environment of competing in the tournament. But just also G2, this resurgent team, Big's answered every call. This one's going to be so tough, though.
So maybe we break it down just a step further. We've got two players that we've got our eyes on right now. It's going to be Kenny S and Smooya. Now, Smooya has made some waves in his own right. Got, dare I say, a pretty big mouth on him.
Listen, it's a pretty dark timeline when we're talking about these two players in comparison in the same universe whatsoever. Kenny S, one of the most legendary players we've had in CSGO. Smooya certainly put together a pretty nice tournament so far, but the most important stat he's had is all of that shit talking. We don't have that stat up on the screen right now, and that's been impressive. That's been the standout for me for this player throughout the year.
This is a guy that has come into the game and really not cared at all about what his peers have to say, about what the competition has to say, and really just kind of sets his mind, which props to you, Smooya, for that. But let's talk a little bit of numbers here, because I think that's exactly where you are. Smooya rocking 3K plus rounds all tournament wrong, 11 to be exact.
Yeah, he's actually, I mean, all jokes aside, this has been a very cool player. We still talk about him in the realm of potential, hasn't quite gotten there yet. But being in this team with Gabi as this leader, knowing how to position him, he's done very well for himself, and obviously he's learned a lot to get all of these triple kills and actually exceeding Kenny S in a lot of these stats just on paper.
Well, just on paper, too, we can take a look at the opening frags from Kenny S. Now, a guy that has all the veterancy in the world, he does have the higher percentage of opening frags here between the two players. And I do believe with that veterancy, with the experience that he has, he should be able to potentially just power through here.
And he's another AWPer like we saw in the previous matchup. He's just one of those players who can take over games entirely. We've seen it so many times in the past, and we expect to see it more going forward because he now has existences back with him. He's got to be loving that, actually being set up for plays and set up to create things for his team. The opening picks are going to be great, but Kenny S really thrives when he's in some craziness in the middle stages of the rounds, when he can turn the outcome in his team's favor.
Well, it's not so much very games, but this is very much a game that you do not want to miss. G2 versus Big here at ESL One Cologne 2018. Let's enjoy the view and get into this matchup.
I'm speechless. The feeling are just amazing. It's like, it felt like a major, but it felt 100 times better because we know we are playing in front of our home crowd now, and it was more intense than ever, and it was the best game I've ever played in my career.
First objective coming here was to go through the group stage. Basically, we're super happy that we achieved that, and now we're just gonna enjoy the Lanxess Arena. The biggest issue we had was probably the fact that we lost a lot of anti-ecos. We almost lost Dust2 against Mouse Sport because of that. So yeah, we obviously are not perfect. We played really good, but we still made mistakes.
I could have played better, but at the end we still made it, and I'm very proud of my team. Everyone stepped up when it was needed. Everyone had his scene, and everyone communicated very good. I always believed every second in my team, and I felt like we will win 100% because we didn't give up. They have a very good team leader. Existence is one of the best in-game leader in the scene, I think, and he put his players in a very good position. We practice a lot against them, and we kind of know how they play, but I still think they need more time to prepare for that. It will be a very good game.
We're not really scared of anyone. We know every team's weaknesses, every team's strength. Personally, I had a lot of memories there. That was the first time I saw a stage like that, a crowd like that in 2015. Since I lost that final, I already told myself that it would be a dream to win here, because everyone here breathes Counter-Strike. Winning here is as big as the winning a major.
If I put my feet on the stage tomorrow in the whole German crowd, I will be shaking for sure. I believe we will play way stronger. We will feel the energy in the arena, and I believe that we can maybe win the tournament as well.
Cologne, it is time for our second quarter-final here at the Cathedral of Counter-Strike. And if we were hyped for that first matchup, what about this? What about this? The crowd is so excited to see a team that last year was in a show match. This year, they are looking for a place in the semi-finals. It is going to be loud. It's going to be great. We're saying we are one. Not right now, because I'm guessing the majority of the 15,000 people here are going to cheer for one team, apart from this one chap there, waving a tricolor and wearing a beret. So please welcome to the stage. I know you've got that energy in you. Come now, come now. It is Big and G2. Team that have always had massive potential. You look at the players and they are all superstars, but they have never been a team. They are now resurgent. Moses called it, is this the moment they show the potential? Against a team from this country. They contain my brother from another mother, the king of the FA cakes, that is Gobby. They are setting their feet, a German team on a stage here at ESL One Cologne. And that's the reaction, and we have seen over the years that, yeah, a crowd can't change what happens in the game, but they can influence what happens. So, let's find out who you think is going to win. Is it going to be G2? Okay. Is it going to be Big? All right, let's get it on a quarter-final. Next up, we'll have one of these teams in the semi taken on FaZe. ESL One Cologne, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go to church!
Gobby, Tabson, Tizian, Nex, and Smooya up against the combination of French and Belgian talent. Kenny S, Body, Shocks, Smiths, and Existence. They said that that game yesterday felt better than any game they'd played previously, one I'm sure they'll remember. Whether they'll have a chance to want to think about this game remains to be seen. Yanko, in terms of now we know the maps, we know it's Cash first. I saw that MIBR result. Everyone's aware of it. Does this mean Bigger coming in perhaps even as favorites for this first map?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as it's their pick, they feel very confident on this map. The thing is, with G2, we have no idea where they stand. Sure. They played it once at ECS against Luminosity, won that game, and we haven't seen anything since. So you wonder, is that been one of the maps on which they have been practicing a lot? We know they don't play Train. We know they don't really like Mirage. There's Nuke in the pool as well. You have to play some maps, right? You have to pick something. So sure. We might very well see a prepared G2. I was a little bit surprised they picked the CT side, especially because coming into the first map on stage, best of 3, and Cash is T-sided. You know, you maybe want to dictate the pace of the game, and especially against a team that's as structured and as regimented as Big is. And structured and regimented, did that ring true when you watched their performance on Cash earlier, Duncan?
Yes, I mean, it's always been a hallmark of the Gobby teams. It's one of the reasons why, actually, I think even though when you saw the stats breakdown for Kenny S versus Smooya, the damage is nowhere near for Smooya. And if you look at his actual raw stats for the tournament, they're not that crazy. He's not on course to be an MVP. But he's had so many multi-kill rounds, he's had a bunch of clutches, so I think he's found an effective role within that team. And one thing they did kind of need in that team was some firepower, because if you remember the guy who's the coach now, Legia, he was actually an active member of the team, he was the secondary AWPer, so I think now they've got a little bit of firepower, they've got somebody who can maybe win some clutches. The big concern for me with Big is Tizian and Smooya are not players who've played on big stages before. No matter how much you say about Smith's Existence coming back, they've got that history behind them.
Yeah, but Existence hasn't played on a big stage in, what, 3 years? I mean, even if he was playing with the likes of LDLC. They haven't seen a big stage in their life.
Times have changed.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, you have guys like Kenny S, who actually, for how skilled he is, he has been notorious at times to be very fragile emotionally, right? If he starts off a game poorly, he has a difficult time getting back into it, which obviously isn't helped by the fact that his team is playing super loose, there's not a lot of structure, and he has always to do things on the fly, and it's definitely going to be helpful now when when things are more structured. It's going to be helpful for him to have something to fall back on in those moments where things aren't necessarily going his way early on.
I don't think there'll be any disputing that for some of the players, especially majority on the big side, this will be the biggest stage and the biggest kind of tournament run that they will have an opportunity to shoot at, Duncan. I mean, this is going to be new experiences for them. And I guess, do we start saying sink or swim? Is this going to be a kind of a crumble or whatever an alternative to crumble is?
Well, the fact that they're still so young with this particular lineup, like they haven't had that many tournaments. They had a decent enough result in Brazil. They were decent enough. I think they're a squad who has some potential. Like they've clearly shown they're not sort of also-rans like the old big squad was. But actually, if anything, if they're going to do deep runs this year, it should start now. Like G2's a team, as we said, still fresh off like making a brand new lineup. Haven't shown us many games here. They actually had a pretty quick run because they came through the upper bracket. So actually, it's not as though this is a team that people think is going to win the tournament. If you really are going to be a contender, you're going to be a team who can win your map, it should start now, actually. This should be an ideal scenario for Big to actually get a big scalp and go deep in a tournament.
And G2, on the other side of things, Yanko, just to cover where their victories have come from. It's actually the man on the screen there who's been having a performance that we didn't necessarily anticipate.
Yeah, I think people have questioned Smith the most out of all the members on the lineup. You know, who he's been coaching for more than a year. Can he come back? He's been more than respectable so far in the tournament. You know, even top fragging in the series versus Na'Vi, in the series, the one map versus Na'Vi, holding his own ground. That was the problem with this lineup when you talk about winning tournaments. Do they have enough firepower, especially when you take into account Shox is still getting back into the swing of things, and that can be a problem for Big. If Shox somehow steps up here on the big stage alongside Kenny, who's had a great tournament, that is all G2 needs in reality to have the upper hand here.
And talking of Shox and hands, I mean, recovery certainly is still a conversation to be had, Duncan. You said that he's forgotten how to play Counter-Strike. I mean, could you elaborate upon that point before it sounds silly?
People will have seen this happen a number of times over the last couple of years. Think of Adren over in Gambit Gaming. Obviously, more recently, you had Snacks in Virtus Pro, said the same thing. These were star players who were, by force of habit, had to become the in-game leader. And not only did they not succeed that much as in-game leader, but when they swapped back, and you're right, cool, go back to what you used to do, they've said your mentality changes when you're the in-game leader. You're not thinking about yourself, you're trying to come for everyone else, etc. And so Shox said, when he first came back to this Existence lineup, where he picked Existence to be the captain, initially he was still playing like he was the in-game leader. He was talking all the time, he was coming all the time, and that meant he wasn't that individual player who's locked on his crosshair. He's trying to feel the game out, very intuitive player when he's at his peak, can win all those amazing clutches. So then the problem is, when they told him, by the way, you're talking too much, just like limit it a little bit more, then he said he went too far the other way, then he wasn't coming at all. So he's trying to find that balance at the moment. Obviously, they need a few games under their belt to really know if it's going to work. Practice is a different matter, you don't have the same pressure on you. So actually, we haven't had to see Shox in this tournament, quite frankly, despite G2's run. So I agree with Yanko, they haven't needed him so far, but if he does turn up, that can be a massive game changer.
And just your final thoughts, Yanko. If Shox shows up, it's going to get scary.
Absolutely going to get scary, and I think the most important thing is going to be that CT side aggression mid-round, Alex. That's what G2 is very good at, and that can break Big apart.
You got to watch out, because here we go. Big versus G2 in the Lanxess Arena. ESL One Cologne holds its breath as the journey begins now.
And a home time narrative to follow along as G2 tries to make a comeback. Back to form, back to basics, bringing in Smiths, the former coach, bringing in Existence for the leadership. Surely this has to free up Shox.
Time will tell. G2 starting the CT side map. Big going for the straight up B rush here. We're kicking it off in style. It's going to be fast paced. And Shoxy is completely blind in the corner. They must know where he is.
Just to hold it off, though, they're not worried so much about Shox, but more so of a potential crossfire that could have existed within the site. It certainly did. Full stack with the falling back of the aggression on the T side. So too will the defense. They'll rotate back around toward A. They'll play truck, retake from highway as well, with Body getting up toward the ticket booth. No kit in any of the CT's hands, so Kenny elects to get a little bit more aggressive, take advantage of the smoke thrown by the forklift, looks for the shots toward the door, that opens him up toward A main, and despite an early shot, it's Gobby to find the first kill, but Nex falls immediately after, and the bomb goes down with him, meaning it can't be planted as cleanly as they might like. Mind you, Smoothie still finds Smiths.
Getting a little bit dicey now as G2 have low HP on Body. It's a 4 versus 3. The bomb is finally planted. You can see the retake coming in primarily from shore. That's going to be Body in Existence. Waiting for Shoxy. They haven't really found much damage just yet. Existence can't land the shots required. He's in the open. He is exposed. And finally, something going in their favor. They have not got a kit right now as the 3-on-3 ensues. And Tizian, he's finding headshots! all over the place. As he finishes things off there, it's going to be big to take an early lead here on Cash.
All-important pistol. T-side of Cash as well. Bring out an AK-47 already for Smooya. Tabson likes to stick to the MP7. Go for a number of AKs. I say Tabson's going to hold for that. He actually throws that back over to Godby, who, as the in-game leader, is willing to use the lesser weapon along with Nex to give the firepower to those in need and those who deserve it. Tabson, certainly one of those players as we look back on Tizian's incredible performance.
Absolutely. He'll be ready to go with the AK-47. 3 of those, Godby and Nex to back them up with the SMG. It's not a complete full investment here from G2. They have saved a bit of cash, but more interesting enough, they've got 4 HE grenades right now. If we look at their initial setup, doesn't really suggest they're going to be using them in the same place. You can see it's Kenny, Existence, Smiths, and Body. They're not really together right now. Body and Kenny are both on the A side. Existence back at the CT truck. So it's going to be a difficult round for them in terms of the general approach from Big. This is what you call a classic, slow, methodical default. Just holding up, waiting to see if there's any sort of CT aggression coming through. And then you're going to start probing towards areas like B storage as Smooya completely dispatches of Smith there. Nice opening pick. And at this point, Matt, you don't need to overcommit. You don't need to run back towards B. You're just holding. You're trying to see what's going to happen the next 30 seconds or so. See if the CTs try and probe for a bit of information. They know B is completely open now. If you look at the minimap, there's not a single CT over there. It's completely open. So what's the play? Do G2 try and push, try and find out what's going on? Because it looks like Smooya wants to investigate towards B. He gets closer and closer now as he wants to get a bit more information for his squad.
Shock still holding off toward middle. Smoke goes down. It nearly left a small gap as the second one comes out a little bit later to see toward a main, or rather, excuse me, mid-main. Nonetheless, Nex goes out. Still is a gap toward the white side of that. Thompson did the damage required, put Shock's back though, and he's trying to hold inside of the smoke and get clever. He's a little bit late because Nex is already inside of the vents. He may still catch him off because he's fallen back. Thankfully, Nex is aware of it, and despite all the activity toward mid, it's over toward A. They want to go. Kenny's still inside of the site, pulls one back. He's got a second, but he's wrapped around as they can't control highway. It goes 2-0 for Big.
Got a little bit dicey there. Big, with 7 seconds on the clock and the final kill came through. It was Smooya to open things up, and I like that from Big. Didn't overcommit, didn't panic. No one went down. They made sure they had trade potential in bucket loads as they committed towards A. Sure, they went to the stack, but there was never really in doubt of it going wrong for them. There we are. A lot of Big fans in the crowd here today. It is going to be the full eco for G2, so you would assume this is going to be a 3-0 start for the home team. As Smooya, he wants to get it done quickly. He'll be investigating towards middle with his trusty MP7 here, looking to farm that cash. And once again, the B bomb site is completely open. Tabson can hold for the flanks, and that's a pretty much guaranteed round at this point. Tabson not looking like he'll find heads straight away, but he's got information. The bombs can be planted, and that is round.
Bit frustrating. They go toward middle. There's 3 or 4 of them there at the time, and Smooya just goes immediately up and goes into the vents. They can hear him go through. Nothing they can even do about it. Can't peek back out. 2 managed to kill from Shocks at least, so Smooya going down. Keep an eye on his economy early on too, because he'll want to bring out the AWP. Can have it necessarily in the next round. It could be dropped over by Nex, mind you. Can't purchase it himself, more to the point, but it's 3-0 for Big. And G2 will respond. The purchase, I'm just speaking of the money as well. Kenny Hess is going to be on the cusp.
Yeah, he'll get 2,400, so he'll be able to afford it, like a best, but I think he probably will. On a map like Cash, the way things are going so far, he wants to start setting the tone for the game. He'll just have to play a little bit more like passively.
And just to define what I meant by cusp is, yeah, he can afford it. It's whether or not he justifies it, given that he won't be able to get head armor with it. Does he want to try and get more utility? What's the call from the overall team complexion? And I tend to agree with you. I think on a map like Cash, where you can be so influential. In fact, he's going to go with it and go glass cannon with it.
Indeed. I think that's fine. He just had to change the playstyle a little bit. You can't be in vulnerable grenade spots, for example, and he knows the tendency of Smooya. Is definitely going to be watching his demos. He has the AWP as well. It has been dropped from him. Smooya's going for that early pick towards B. Will he even get an opportunity to find the first kill? Not quite. It's Nex who's battling towards middle with the MAC-10. He's trying to find unarmored opponents, but nothing going in their favor just yet. Tabson does burn one. That's going to bring it back quickly to the 4-on-4 here with 1 minute 30 on the clock. In terms of mid-control, that hasn't really been granted. So they did get a kill, and that technically does favor the T side here, but still stuck in their default positions, and that's fine. They can just go back into the default now. They probe towards middle, made things uncomfortable, and that's going to thin out the CT defense.
Deeper smoke from Goppy will allow him to get over to the vent. Good read. Left that gap on purpose, seemingly, as he finds existence up behind the white box. Rotation from body to get back inside of the site in B as quickly as he dare. Kenny will support that. Smith therefore has to hold highway on his own, finds Gobby. That'll do for now, but does he know that Tapson's getting closer and closer. Good find. Damage was dealt, but it gives them an all-important kill. Opens up the map in any direction they please to go, and the man advantage in doing so.
Absolutely do. Still 40 seconds on the clock. Remember, Kenny, no armor. They've got no kits, no utility. Up against a pretty much fully equipped big squad. You can see they've got smokes, molotovs, flashbangs, and Smooth up. He'll be deploying his towards a highway right now. They've got smokes. This is going to be a full execution with 3 players. Tapson ready to go up towards highway. So this is going to be very promising indeed. And Kenny S and Body have opted to stay towards B. I think they're going to concede the round. If a bomb does go down A, they won't even attempt it. They'll just have to save the weaponry. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it seems like they just have to accept it and move along, as there is the plan, and there's no way they can even consider moving from their positions. Very well done by Big. I like that nice early attack. We know on the first gun round, especially when the G2 side, they didn't fully invest in the second round, but they spend most of their cash. They're not going to have full utility, especially the 3-0 coming in. You know, they might not have an incendiary, they might not have all the smokes required, or even a defuse kit. So they get in towards middle. Sure, they lose the first kill, but in fact it goes to a 4-on-4, and they can go back into the default, wait for those reactions. And it worked out very nicely for them indeed. That not so well for Tapson, but they have won the round. This is Kenny S trying to hold on to his orb.
Once again, discourage Tizian's attack. He'll buy himself enough space. I think he'll be fine, but nonetheless 4-0 for Big as they pick up the first gun round as well as the opening pistol. AWP carried over. You did say it can be extremely influential on this map with or without guns to go along with it. He can play aggressive and he'll be able to bring out a little bit of armor this time around it.
Kenny S, you're absolutely right, does have the potential, especially on a map like Cash. There's so many opportunities on this particular one. You've got the squeaky door, A main, middle, can be boosted up if he really wants to, and towards the connector on his side. B storage, he can make things happen. Whether he wants to is another question. He has purchased some Kevlar to give him a little bit more freedom, I guess. He can actually go for some of those picks, but this is really nice from Gobby. Great aim. He's actually played really well this tournament. Great to see that. 4-0 in favor of Big. It is a T-sided map, but this is a fantastic start for them. AWP still in the hands of Smooyer, of course, and we'll see what Kenny S brings to the table in round number 5.
And yeah, the obvious call around the timeout was getting armor onto Kenny, but then doing the same for pretty much everyone else. Existence elects not to, but if you can find opening picks, if they can get guns down, that armor as soon as you pick up the guns is beneficial because it removes aim punch. This bomb is intentionally dropped inside of the mid-garage. Tapson, meanwhile, gets back toward A main. Tizian with Smooya, expecting perhaps some aggression toward the squeaky door, knowing that they've got to go somewhere to try and find the opening pick. Slide stack in sight. Haven't seen that as common as of late, but this gets an M4 into a position of power, given that, well, no head armor, that's fine, but it protects all the rest of the body either way.
Once again, be very exposed. Just existence there with peak 250, and he's the only player without armor as well. Big would be best off going for a full execution here. They know the AWP is up, so what's the best way to counter an AWP map? You smoke them out, you remove them, you eradicate risk, and when you do finally commit, you want to be using the Molotovs as well. Flushing out any close-range pistols. Smokes are going to be their best friend in this particular round. They know Kenny S is going to be a threat, and right now he's positioned at the CT truck, and they're going to be taking care of that as the smokes start to rain in. Kenny might be out of luck here, but maybe Body's got a chance. He'll be waiting on the boost here, but he can get the opening frag. They might be able to do something with this, but great response coming through, and Kenny, he has got vision somehow as he finds a kill on next, and is still back and forth. 3-on-1 advantage now for G2.
Still trying to find a gap from the doorway. Tizian has to eventually walk out and go toward the bomb. He can't get there. Good crossfire set. Smith's held off from the fence. Finally a first round for G2.
Now I'm thinking those smokes they deployed towards the CT truck actually benefited Kenny's. I think he went towards the E-box. We'll have to confirm that. I wasn't 100% sure, but it seemed like he had way too much vision considering his position there. And it was the execution from Big, but unfortunately couldn't get much further than the forklift. That boost was a great idea towards the A side. Really threw a spanner in the works at that point. A lot of attention, position towards that area. Gamble, like we said, 4 players from G2 towards A, but it pays off as Kenny S now starting to get a bit more confidence, trying to get that first pick. You can see him watching towards A main, but it's Smith's to strike first. He took down Gob B in the B storage area. Gob went for the early pick, didn't work out for him. And now G2 looking to string a few rounds together.
Smoke goes down with shocks pushed up. Pressure onto Smith's body is trying to get there. Shocks can still back out, though. Cover off checkers. It's massive. That's why Body likes not to go up above to heaven. Good read as they immediately remove him, but Body snaps back to find one. Good re-entrance from Shock. Smooya. He can look all he likes with that AWP, but they won't find him. They do manage, however, to keep the bomb with the smoke now down toward tree. They should get a plant out of this as well. Potential for the reset certainly existed, but at this point in time, it's all about survival. See how quick Smooya really is as he tries to hold off toward the vents.
He's got existence coming in that direction, but that Molotov could be extremely important. There are 3 players coming in towards heaven, 1 towards the vent, and Smooya might be out of luck here. He's got too many angles to watch, but timing working in his favor for now, but not for long, and it's going to be a nice, clean retake there from G2. Impressive stuff. They managed to keep 4 players alive as well. That's exactly what they needed, Matt. We talk about the resets so much in CSGO, especially on the CT side. You win 1 round, sure, but if you lose the follow-up, it can go horribly wrong. So yeah, looking a little bit frustrated at that point. He did have a nice position, but there's too many angles to watch. You need CT's be coming from behind him. CT spawn, storage, events. He had to try and commit to one of the angles. Unfortunately, chose the incorrect one. 4-2, and I think that is going to be the money broken for Big. But they have force put into this round. They've brought 3 CZs into the equation. Tizian going to be rocking the AK-47 and got B on the SMG. Is it the straight-up B rush? I would say that probably not. Knowing a team like Big, they're going to have some sort of tactical flair here. You're going to see some Molotovs, some smokes used. They want to get into that bomb site and make things as uncomfortable as possible for the defense. We love Molotov executions on the B bomb side of Cash. It can be so beautiful. You can completely win the round by just correctly throwing Molotovs in a flashbang combination. Here come the smokes now, and indeed the Molotovs going in as well. Now, will they get a chance to even get near the bomb site? Body seems ready for them.
He's certainly gotten out of checker room, but back inside of the site's another problem because he's already lost Smiths. He's got full vision and he's got the bomb down. Body looking for yet another as he's already found 3 inside of the site. Bomb to his favor has fallen well and truly inside of the doorway where which Smooya made his exit onto the AK-47. He'll try and do what he can. It looks as though it's a 3rd round almost guaranteed for G2, and Smooya says otherwise. Good shot to find Kenny at headshot. Leads off the corner. That is close. Anticipation spray through the garage, so too it was returned, and he takes a little bit of damage, goes back down to 23. His Body holds off. Inevitable, I think, at that point, but he gave it a go. 4-3, this now brings money into disarray. There's, well and truly, little to work with on the Big side. They'll go down to 37. I mean, you're in forced territory, but a 3rd round bonus, there's no point. You get some pistols, and that's about it.
Indeed. You still
I think Gobby may actually go with a stronger mentality on force buying, so I might see some pistols, no armor here. He's going to be, I say it, then Tapson goes head armor, so fair enough.
Well, Tapson still got 1,800 after that one, so I guess that's okay. They're going to have 4 save loss bonus next round with 2,900, so we'll still have enough for an AK armor and basic utility. It won't be ideal, but still, he could cause some damage here. Tapson is their absolute star player. He needs to step up in this series if they're going to stand the chance, and like we said in the pregame, these are very high-fragging maps. The fact we've got Cash and Dust 2 back-to-back is really interesting. I can't wait to see how Dust 2 unfolds, and as these guys warm up and get more relaxed, you see some great AWPing action. This man is screen right there, Smooya against Kenny S. I think that can be quite a tantalizing battle if he can find his confidence on the stage. Round 8. No grenades to speak of. They're just trying to find any sort of 1-digs they can here, but G2, after hearing the pistols go off, they're not going to give them any opportunities. Playing crossfires, make them commit fully to the site. It's unlikely to have grenades. You can let them have middle. It's not a huge problem. Just have one person spotting it, which is the existence, and as soon as he feels a little bit too uncomfortable, he can just fall back. He doesn't want to go down here, and Tapson just swallows the grenade down to 36 HP.
Still manages a shot back. Didn't catch it, but he might have taken the grenade. He's dished out Deagle instead. It's Shocks that falls. And now Kenny, once again, toward the forklift, has to be somewhat cautious of the fact that mid is open. Very passive hold on it from both Existence and Smiths. Highway becomes the point of approach. Kenny, identifying that, had to move, and he did. He's gone in behind the red crate. They'll get an M4 toward the open door. Careful not to trip over each other. Kenny almost body blocking Smiths. If they committed, it could have been awkward for him. But he'll make his way to quad. It's going to be well-timed, well struck. Tizian on top of it falls to Kenny's MP9, and he's got a 3rd kill on top of it. Smiths with 2, but more importantly, I mentioned Kenny because obviously, AWP player, you want that economy. He's got 12-2 right now.
Yeah, he farms $1,800 with that little sequence there, so that's very beneficial. Nice work by him. He could have even afforded the AWP in that round, but he wanted to make sure he didn't risk anything. Didn't want to maybe give that AWP away and give them an opening. If he gives an MP9, that's fine. It doesn't really matter too much. Not only does he survive, he managed to get the AWP up now. Plenty of cash here, and G2 have pulled it back 4 rounds in a row for the CT side. No wall for Smoothie this time, but he's certainly capable of being a rifler as well. We'll see whether this, what looks like to be an execution eventually, will work out for Big. And you can see a completely different setup for G2 now. They've gone for more of a retake mentality. It's just Kenny is at the A bomb site. He's playing from that CT truck. They're actually going to provide more firepower towards middle. And that's what a great CT side will do. They'll be changing it up every single time, so the terrorists can't adapt to what kind of defense they think they're up against. And you're definitely going to see some Kenny S aggressive picks coming in as well. He's just getting into the zone right now.
Door open by Tizian, spotted by Existence. He'll now very likely hold that position for a while, keep his eyes fixed upon it. Good really spray. In fact, takes Tizian down to 62. He'll be timid and a little less encouraged to try and peek out wide in return as a result of that. Kenny, meanwhile, smokes off A main. That allows Existence in. Unfortunately, he's going to be Molotov'd off. That's going to go all the way to the corner. He's got to go past the smoke. This is a decent transition late because they've already cleared this corner. So if he's not spotted, oh, the flash, they just barely see him. I was going to say that would be massive. They don't all run straight by, but Tapson finds it. Smooya, he gets Kenny. He's followed it up. He's on to Shocks. They take the advantage back. Despite going down a man early, it's Body that now has to hold from Quad. His teammate Smith's already on the flank. He might catch out Smooya, but he's heard the M4 fire as they spotted each other in turn. No bomb plant, 29 seconds. And it's all on the AWP. They know exactly where he is. They can play this together, and that's exactly what they do. It's the lead now for G2.
Scrappy round, but it's G2 coming out on top. You can see once the smokes and Molotovs started coming in, they managed to get players quickly on towards the side there, managing to change from the retake setup to having 3 or 4 players right in the side. It was a little bit too telegraphed from the terrace before they finally committed. Smooya did what he could with the AK-47. 2 nice kills, but that player towards Quad, I think it was Body, is too much of a nuisance, and no plant comes in, and it's going to be another difficult buy for Big. Next, just for the CZ, Tizzy and Khalil. There are 3 AKs, but 2 players have absolutely no utility whatsoever. Back towards A it seems, and I think this will be another simple sort of execution. It won't be as technical as before. They'll probably just smoke in front of the actual highway itself, and then on the bomb site, and just try and flash in and have power in numbers. 5 people going into the bomb site. There's the flash, and here we go. Can Smooya and Co open things up? They have not smoked off CT spawn at all. They've gone prematurely by the looks of things, and now it will be a 4 versus 2 advantage as Kenny S just keeps plucking them away from the bomb site.
Great to see some form from Kenny. First time you and I have had the chance to witness it in person so far in this event. Another kill as he takes down Godby. It's all on to Tizian. Has some position to work with given that he's already toward Quad, but no bomb plant. I know the bomb's down on the site. They'll take position toward highway as well. As there's no need to force the issue. I say they know that he's there. I said they know the bomb's down. They certainly don't know where his exact whereabouts are because they're still checking off toward lockers and taking their time about clearing corners, but as soon as he is spotted, he is no sooner taken down. 6-4.
So the first timeout for Big comes in. That was technically a force buy. They had the 3 AKs at Khalil, but 1 player on a pistol. Bare bones utility, went for the simple play towards A, but it seems like Kenny has just got a shooting gallery. They've got the executions. We know they've got the smokes and the ideas behind them, but there were gaps there, and Kenny has completely exploited them. I was watching it from his POV. When they finally committed towards the site, he had full vision from the CT truck of A main. He gets the first kill, pushes forward, and doesn't really miss a beat since then. Kenny's stats right now, 12 kills. After 10 rounds, he's only died 4 times, and they've got money for days. Body's got $15,000. Can't really say the same for the big boys, as they'll have Deagles, CZs, and they've got 5 smokes. We know they're a tactical team. That's exactly the pick I was talking about. He's got nothing blocking him. He's not flash, no smokes are down. And finally, that's the smoke they needed, that I wanted to see. They committed before that even bloomed. So that was a massive problem. Maybe some nerves coming in here, getting their timings off. As a pretty basic smoke to nail. There's Kenny. Now towards B. You'll see him change position pretty much every single round, just to keep them guessing so they can't counter-strat him.
That's the beauty of this map as well. Yeah. I mean, it offers that to an AWP player on the CT side.
You're basically playing around the AWP. Wherever he wants to go, it's not the in-game leader calling him that, it's actually Kenny will be calling that. Wherever he thinks he can get stuff done, wherever his spawn, what he feels like, that's what top opers do. They don't need to be told what to do. They're actually technically a caller in themselves because they want to go and cause damage wherever they can, especially when they're getting in the zone. They had a few successful rounds, they're dominating their rival AWP, and that's when they get that godlike space. Players like Kenny definitely live up to that.
Smoke again. Crisscross as well as the top hut. Existence won't even be able to spot them, but look at the positioning from Body. If they commit to this, which so far they've not, He's perfectly positioned. And they will go now. You saw Smooya. He's hoping to catch body when he falls back. They've got a second player in support to watch out towards Sunroom, knowing that's the likely setup. Great read. It is just against pistols, but it's well performed. Residue nearly denying body from spotting out Tapson, but he finds that kill as well, and now it's just 2 remaining. And what is about to become a 7th round in a row for G2.
Oh, well, there we go. Smooya, an audacious pick towards the mid area of the Desert Eagle there, but Kenny S hasn't really missed a shot the last few rounds. There's another 2 kills for him, and that's going to be 7 rounds in a row.
With 1 bomb plant.
Indeed. Well, there we have it. Big will have money once again. Smooya, feeling brave, will bring out the AWP, and he has to challenge Kenny here. Will they go back to that slow-paced gameplay and allow him to open things up? AWP is on the T side, obviously, mainly boosted towards middle or working towards the B storage area. Sometimes go towards Squeaky Door, just face up straight towards the highway. We'll see which way he is inclined as we enter round number 12 here. The last few rounds of the first half. Smooya will be heading towards middle, by looks of things. It's going to be boosted up on the red box for now. Smoked out, goes for the initial shot, trying to get a bit of wall damage off as they get closer. And look at this change once again. There's a reason Existence is called a bit of a tactical mastermind. He's calling a very good game so far, making things unpredictable and a little bit chaotic, but Smooya seems to be 1 step ahead of him. The boost is there, and Shox doesn't commit, but if he does, Smooya should be able to take him down.
44 HP for Gobby, early nade damage. Boost versus boost. Smooya's head shows. Tried to fire. No scope towards Shox. Couldn't land it. They'll smoke off middle and allow Shox to retreat back. Gobby, meanwhile, back over toward A. Will throw nades in. It's in his best interest to try and clear that side of the site if they've already lost mid, and the bomb is heading that direction as well. But look at Smiths. Smoke down a mid. He knows they haven't gone through. Shox is still there. They vacated. This is going to be so well timed. So long as Nex doesn't spot him, he has, and just barely takes him down. 5 HP, but that's fine. Important kill because it opens up the back door toward B. I say that and look at Shox. His turn now.
Yeah, he's got them locked in. They know it as well. They have to commit at this point. They can't fall back. They have no idea where he is. 3 players waiting on the A site, including Kenny S, as they'll go for a boost. This is a nice little position. You can dodge a flashbangs, get a kill, just duck again. You're completely covered. Oh, there it is. Tapson with the AWP. He's opened the door for them.
Yeah, but he's opened the door for Shox. The timings have gone both directions. Shox only gets 1. Tapson's aware of everything. Still just 1 to find. Body just barely by Tapson. And the first round in 8 for Big. It was the bomb not down 15 seconds. The off is quick, but the reset is a real possibility as we hit round 13.
Indeed. After losing 7 rounds in a row, they do win round number 12. But 1 player survives as Tapson luckily gets the AWP. But there's going to be some compromises here. Tizzy goes straight to the Galil. And Gobby hasn't purchased yet. He's got $4,000. Their AWP goes down after the counter boost from Shoxy, but Tapson steps up. We did say going into this one, he is the absolute star player. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. He can do everything, as you can see. Great all prowess as well. That's a big round for him to win, and Body looking a bit frustrated in the 2 versus 1. He knew he could get up to that smoke and really win the round. There's about 10 seconds remaining. We get into the next, and it's pretty desperate times for Big right now. Lose this one, and not get anything else done this half. 7-5 right now. There was a timeout, and it will be Gobby to purchase the AK armor. And I think that's pretty much all he can afford. He gets 1 smoke, so wants to play here. Are Big going to change things up? They've been very default so far. And Smooya bounces towards B once again. He might have a challenge this time. Waiting for CTs to push rather than actually commit towards the checkers. This could be potentially a run boost coming in. This is what Guardian does. In phase, he gets jumped across like this and he faced towards checkers. No one there to receive, unfortunately, for Smooya, so he'll hold towards the sunroof for now.
Next alongside with him, but Shox again has managed to infiltrate middle. Pushed up. Won't go through. Won't have that option yet. They don't have enough information to secure it. No one to boost body. He's just checking towards Sunroom. Gets away with it, arguably, because as you'd already noted, Smooya was happy to stay there with the AWP, but the smoke now down will allow him to hold the corner more effectively. And for about another 15 seconds, we'll hold everyone at bay. Is getting inquisitive. He hasn't really played the left side too often in mid, aside from the 1 round he was counter boosted. Big struggling to get map control at this point.
Yeah, not really much going on right now, but they are setting themselves up for some mid-presence. Good flashbang, shots caught in the open. It's been known that the utility success from Big has been one of the absolute best in the event so far. And what we mean by that is like amount of time opponents are flashed or dead while in smoke as Tabson finds another. It's just Body waiting the B side now. And that's what they're waiting to go as Gobby gets in the vents. If Body can find multiple kills, it is still a chance for G2, but he gets nothing done. He gets completely removed, and Kenny is surely going to be taken out of the equation by a smoke, but it's not deep enough. He can still sabotage this one. He's looking to deny the bomb, but it has made it safely to the site.
Just barely got across when he checked in. You're right, there was a gap in it for him to work with. This will avoid reset, and they're going to try and back off. Kenny might actually get caught. Makes it to Z. That'll let him control the peak, so Gobby has had enough, but Existence down. They know where he is. Want every gun gone on the G2 side. Still flying going at around 15.
Oh!
What is it worth? Kenny with 2. Finally put in his place.
Well, still high five. They know Kenny removed a lot of cash there. 7-6 though. Nice work from Big. Another default from them, but the flashbangs just perfect towards middle. You see Tabson versus Body here. Both of them hovering around 100 ADR. In terms of the frags, Tabson's got 11 and 9. Body with 15 and 6. Existence, Matt, I hate to point out the negatives, but he's on 1 and 7 right now after 14 rounds. So not making a triumphant return to the stage just yet.
Existence putting himself into what I mean with no flash, smoke down only. Gets up on top of Cinders.
That's an old school play, that one.
Yeah, it's an old school position in general. It, interestingly, isn't pre-checked anymore either, so you might be able to catch off one and fall in, but usually you've got 2 players taking that position for the T side.
He actually got a dink then, I think, Izian, through with the Galil through the shutter doors, and he did like 3 damage, 2 damage to Existence. He dinked him.
Interesting. Inconsequential. Almost actually detrimental, because if he calls out, yeah, I dinked him, but it didn't actually do any damage if he could hear the audible noise when you do hit an opponent's head armor. Body, meanwhile, still inside of mid, goes back out for the peak. That's exactly when Tabson strikes from on top of the boost.
Tabson starting to get into 5th gear now. He's hitting absolutely everyone with the AK-47. Has he got anything left? Apparently not. Kenny keeping to his level, 4 versus 3, but it's in favor of Big, sorry. As now they'll be opening the squeaky door.
Watch.
Smoke's coming in as Kenny hits another shot.
Watch the boost, though. Existence is here. They haven't checked it, and they haven't got control of Highway, which is the most obvious place to spot him from. He only gets 1, but that'll slow the bomb down for enough that Kenny can swing back out. It's under 30 seconds, but it's Tizian to put the op in its place, and Smiths wants to swing back in. Smoke at forklift actually gives him room to work, and he wants to take advantage of the flames. I think he'd be spotted. No, he wasn't! I thought Tizian spotted him going by. He's got a chance in the one-on-one, but Smooey is better.
You could see how close that was. Smith's trying to apply the pressure. Get up close and personal. He got the call from his teammates, one of them was low. He found that first player, but Smooey hitting the shot they really did need there. That's going to tie things up now. 7-7 as Big call another timeout. We'll have a look at the money for G2. As you can see on your screen, it ain't looking too good. Everyone below $4,000. That's normally okay on the T side, but definitely not for the counter-terrorists. They'll be limited at best. They have to buy. It's the final round of the first half, of course. Big looking to take it. They lost 7 rounds in a row, but they have recovered quite nicely here, Matt. 3 on the bounce for them as the buys come through. His Existence, he's got another kill, 2 for 8. Shoxy 7 and 9. Don't really see him returning to star level just yet. It's Kenny S with 19 kills, Body with 15, Smiths with 11. Tabson, of course, is the very top for Big. What a game he's having. Looking fantastic with the AK.
Single-handedly, I think, carried this team into the great start they had to qualify for the major. The 2-month period last summer, he was remarkable as Existence tries it again, this time with a flash, not a smoke, but Gobby's able to trade it back out immediately. Kenny, go for more. There's a gun down in there. If he can get toward it, the flash is perfect. He's tapped it away. In fact, there's an AWP down. If he can get it, he uses the nade to push Gobby back. He could have actually used that to get the gun, but he still gets there. Tabson is ready for it on the AK-47. Shots boosted now, 5-7. Third one we've seen in this event.
Well, he's been spotted. He's absolutely done for. Gobby, he has been picking up the orb this tournament. It's a lovely shot there. And that's going to give them the man advantage once again, but there is a fly in the ointment. Smith's waiting for his opportunity, but Tabson 1 step ahead, apparently not. It's the Famous that comes out on top. Still a minute to work with here, but they are truly locked in towards the A bomb site. Got B 2 kills so far, and Tizian can't help him out. 50 seconds, final round, has to go for this one with the L.
Be already in. Partially blinded. Not spotted. Might get the cross as well. Smooya is going to know exactly where he is because the Molotov clears out Ticket. In fact, he won't even be touched by that, which means he can peek, but Gobby's ready for that angle. Fakes out the bomb plant as well. That won't bait Body in. He's got time to work with 31 seconds. Body knows that, knows he doesn't have to commit, so why should he bother peeking? Let him have the plant. Play this as a true one-on-one. Nearly spotted him retreating. Smoke out. He knows he's on the wall! And the captain gives them the lead going into half as big pull back 8-7.
What a legend. Picks up the AWP from his fallen comrade and gets 3 kills and gets them the lead going into halftime. That is excellent. You can see exactly what he wanted to do. Use the smoke as a flashbang, bounce it off the wall, make him turn around. It's exactly what Body did. He didn't see it coming, and he gets completely removed. Well played to Gobby. First time he's made it to the playoffs of ESL One Cologne and putting on quite the show here. 8-7. Big swap over to the CT half, or straight back into the action, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the stats for you. Kenny S does drop a 20 bomb. Existence not so much. Tapson though, high flying with the AK-47. Great stuff from him. But still anyone's game, absolutely so. Only 1 round in it, couldn't be closer. 3 sets of armor for the T side, 2 smokes, a Molotov, flashbangs. Suggests something quite technical and presumably towards the A site. Tizian though, not wasting any time to get presence towards A main, and Kenny S is absolutely fine with that. He's anticipating it almost.
So slower pace this time, considerably, than what we saw in the first pistol, though the first pistol did go out quite a while and went back over toward the A side. There was good contact toward B early on. No stack, but Shock's already toward the squeaky door. We'll call for his teammates to rotate back over. Kenny will take bomb. Smoke for him, as well as Smiths. They can exile anyone beyond the perimeter of the site. That discludes Nex. He's still holding in behind Quad. But there's a Molotov to deal with that. That'll force him out. He's already tagged. He's got to be very careful on retreat. So they've got the right utility and the right play in mind to work with it. Good tags as Kenny finds both. Over top of his teammate's shoulder, down toward Highway, and then back toward Forklift. It's Smiths to add to that total. Only 1 kill so far in return as they try and get into the side to site. No kit for Gobby or Smooya. Smooya's on 7, but around the corner, Gobby! They have no ideas there. Smooya's already found 1. It's given him a chance. Despite that he only has 7 HP, the USP headshots can certainly be menacing, but Existence is ready and knew exactly where he was coming from. We tie back up at 8.
There's the execution, the smoke behind the site. 1 towards Highway, flash in, Molotov the quad. Pretty basic stuff, but very effective when you've got some world-class talent behind those successful bits of utility. Kenny S finds his 23rd frag, and they run away with the round. There was one exciting moment there where Gobby managed to sneak behind enemy lines, get towards the quad position, but only manages 1 kill. If he gets the double there, maybe Smooya had a chance in the one-on-one, but it's 7 HP that eludes him. And actually, a more conservative second round here from Big, not going to be force buying, going for the Deagles. They know they're a team that relies on utility, relies on that AWP Smooya. They want diffuse kits. That's how they win their games. They don't do it through brute force. They do it through methodical tactics. As Tapson looks for Desert Eagle kills here. He's going to be tagged up himself. That might be his cue to leave, but still, have a chance there. Unlucky not to take down Body, but mid control granted towards G2.
Smooya underneath the vents. Get information as to when they approach from middle. He's making a little bit of noise on the opposing side. 2 CZs this time. You mentioned it, and the reason I brought out the fact that Shocks was playing with 1 in the last half is simply because we haven't seen a large transition away from having that weapon equipped still.
Indeed. I think once someone gets really unbelievable with the 5-7, it will kind of
might be what it takes.
Influence someone else. I think you have to have some real big highlight moments for people to start realizing it can be very good as well. And it will be the B split coming in from G2 here. Smooya on the CZ this time. Flash there, and he's absolutely done for. I saved that. Wasn't as bad as I thought. He does get 1 kill and tag up Existence as well, but still I don't think that's going to contribute to a round victory here as frag after frag. But Shoxy comes in, he gets 3 to finish it off. Nice work by him. That's going to be 9 to 8 in the full eco now for Big. Considering they didn't fully invest into round number 2, they can bring out maybe some P250s here. They do have a little bit more residual cash than usual. But now G2 take the lead, 9 to 8, as Smiths was the coach for around a year for this squad and was brought back in, focusing more on teamwork and chemistry themselves, perhaps, as Shoxy gets it done. Returning from wrist surgery. We haven't heard too much about that. Seems like it all was successful.
It's actually true.
Yeah.
And it's in the 2015, the Olaf, and then it was Guardian. A lot of injuries or wrist problems for a number of players. The Shox one wasn't as talked about. Kind of went on his business, had the surgery, and he's come back. It was all swiftly taken care of. And speaking of, he's going to take down Tapson. 2 All-Stars going back and forth at it. To keep an eye on Shox as well, too, because they said on the desk, if he starts going off, it's going to be masterful for G2. He's only up to 12 kills. It's 25 for Kenny S that leads the way, but 2 of those are in this round as he finds Godby as well. Smooya the last alive. Straightforward, he's dealt with from a nade.
Double digits for G2, but this is where the second half really begins here. Big will have the AWP, and as I mentioned, they do actually have the utility, something they're very famous for using this tournament. We don't see them too often on the big stage, but when we do, they always have some fantastic tricks and innovations to show us in terms of their executions primarily. And it's going to be the single orb setup on both sides here. Of course, Kenny being one of the absolute MVPs of this map so far. I'd say it'd be him, number 1, Tabs in number 2. As he'll be looking towards A main for now. Smooya with his orb holding towards B. Not a single kit available for the CTs here. And it's pretty default from G2. Don't really have a bonus round to work with here. They do have a Galil in the hands of Smiths. But this is just them getting basic map control. Shoxy working towards that squeaky door. And Kenny S just firing off some warning shots towards A main, it seems.
Body smoked off. Deep smoke as well. This might suggest that they want to try and push up towards Sunroom. Boost above it to see if that is the case. Boost is actually clever as well, because if they don't spot anyone, they might suspect it's not there, and therefore box would be the next most obvious spot. Smooya is playing near enough to it, but they aren't going to pursue any further in that direction. Assistance, meanwhile, in the corner. As that smoke dissipates, we'll be able to spot toward the vents. Better still, Kenny's holding off, and Patience pays because it's Tapson that he gets, tries to go for the fast shot. Thankfully, Smiths is still up above on the boost, and Kenny just barely gets away. Incendiary's a problem. I don't know if that's gonna reach, I don't think so. Just barely. Smooya is completely blinded over toward B. That's the next point of approach. He has spotted Shox, who's gotten immediately in behind the white box. If he stands back up to throw the nade, he might have problems, but Smooya's got the first shot. Time to reset as well. Finds Kenny and knows that Shox is still out there, but he's overrun. As Smith gets up close, coming in through the vents, it's now on to Nex, who plays toward headshot, and Shox has to go. 19 seconds. He's got the bomb, and he's got time to plant it as well, or does he? Because Tizian's coming from behind. I'm not sure he's going to suspect this. In fact, he's still looking toward the smoke with the spray. He's now ready for it. Nade bounced in as well. Each knowing where the other is, it's on to Shox to try and go aggressive, and now he shows up as it's 11 rounds for G2.
A classic Shoxy sequence there. You could see never a doubt in his mind he was going to lose that round. As soon as he got the information where the CT was, he kind of gave himself away throwing those grenades. And HE, in that sort of scenario, only just gives you a position up. You can see the trajectory where it's thrown from. He tried to flash afterwards. At that point, it was too late. Shoxy had served him a death sentence. Amazing effort by Smooya. You have to give him that. It was a decent effort to hold them off, but wasn't quite enough. As Shoxy wins a very important round for G2 there. It's another eco for Berlin International Gaming here. We're going to see CZs, Desert Eagles, and a couple of bits of Kevlar. Smooya alone in towards B. They've got a smoke and an HE. Nothing too special from the CT side. A bit of a four-man stack developing here as Tapson falls back. They have got a flash. Well, they have not actually. They're going to have to just hold up and maybe smoke A main. That's about as good as it's going to get as the mid control comes in for existence.
Control, but then given back. Don't want to overcommit toward pistols. Instead, they'll gather themselves. Shox out toward the door. It's right through it. The impenetrable door. I say impenetrable. It does do damage to it, but it doesn't break down such as other ones do.
Yes.
Yeah, still trying to find an angle. Instead, we'll go to support. Looked like he was going to flash his teammates in. Thinks otherwise. Wants to try and catch the cross when a player retreats from quad. No incendiary or Molotov to head that direction in doing so because they don't have one. If they did, Gobby might have problems. Taps it.
What is that?
Toward the doorway from that range.
Not bad, is it? Well, there we go. Maybe they've got a slight chance here now. It's going to be Body, though, trying to sniff however he can. They haven't really used any Molotov. What are they playing at?
Yeah, they didn't clear corners enough. These crossfires. Lucky that Smiths is able to hold his composure as he walks back in. Smooya now suddenly finds himself in a 1 versus 3, but they definitely had problems going down 2 men immediately and hadn't yet cleared quad or toward the fence as Smooya gets one, nearly a lineup. Oh my God, Smooya! He's got it down to a one-on-one with Kenny. No gun picked up, but this CZ is menacing, and Kenny on an AWP is gonna have to be absolutely perfect. I'm not sure he's aware that Smooya's gone up. There's 2 bullets to work with. 2 bullets. He has to hit a headshot, can't do it, but he's got time to reload as he dances around Fork. The problem is Kenny's played it perfectly. He knows he can back off, and the time is gone. It's all for heroics at this point. But he realizes now the bomb too far gone. Can he even get away with the AWP? He's got 6 HP. Does he get far enough? I think he just barely does.
I think he'll be fine. Indeed he will. Great effort again from Smooya. But it's all for naught. He can't win the round. He maybe wanted to reload that CZ, but he was really feeling that point. 2 sensational kills from A-Main. Then had to take down Kenny, hoping to be low HP. CZ with 2 bullets was never going to do it, and Kenny played it absolutely perfectly there, just ducking and weaving around the forklift and just buying every second he could. Oh, such a great effort from Smooya. You got a feel from him on that one. Would have been one of those really historic plays on a big stage if he pulled it off with just a CZ, but not meant to be. And for the first time, Big bring out the double AWP setup here. It will be Smooya and Gobby holding towards the B area, with Kenny S on the other side, so Smooya looking to take him down. Gobby is getting a bit of intel for his AWP, and they're going to do a run boost themselves. But look, I think maybe just boosting straight above the smoke for anyone crossing into Sunroom.
Exactly. Same thing they did 2 rounds ago, because this gives them actually an advantage. If you're going to throw a deep smoke to try and take position towards Sunroom and they don't see you go, pending you're not against the wall, which is kind of unorthodox in general, but if you're not going to go, then that's information that actually plays in their favor. Despite that you're trying to conceal any movement that you've not gone, you're trying to sell it. As Smooya now, that's an interesting smoke. It was used to extinguish the Molotov, but it actually gives him a bit of an angle that he could have worked towards Sunroom, and they aren't getting closer in that position. Didn't quite spot Kenny does now, but can't hit the shot. He'll back off. Kenny's a bit caged, stuck in the corner because he has to confront Smooya when he goes back by.
Smooya now. 2 players in front of him, but Kenny has made it towards the Sunroom. Has he got his number? AWP against AWP, but there's so many players heading his position. He needs to make sure he can trade this out. He'll go down. Oh my goodness, he gets away. I thought that was him absolutely done for. He will be now. He tagged up Kenny. It's up to Gobby. Exposed as the Molotovs rain in. The last chance is next, and he might have to concede this one.
Smiths holds plant to default. Shanks can start to look back as the smoke student dissolving. He actually took damage from his teammate, I believe. As it was Body firing in from main all the way to the other side. It's going to be a save, though. AWP, the important asset in it. Tizian has a kit, armor as well, lots of utility to still hold on to. But it's now going to be 13 rounds for G2, and as you say, we go on to Dust 2 next. Which, I agree, Gobby, even back as far as his mouse sports days when he had Chris J as an asset on that map, and I do say that Chris J is an asset on that map, I think he's very good on it. It's also been a French map throughout history, and really Kenny S loves it.
And they played Astralis on that map, and sure, they lost, but it was in overtime. They're definitely good to go on that one, and I'm sure it's one they'll be very happy to play. At this point, it feels like G2 are in cruise control, haven't given up much here in the second half whatsoever. Well, actually, nothing at all. 6-0 in the second, and it's not to say that Big haven't been competitive in the second half. They've had plenty of close touch-and-go rounds. It just hasn't converted for them. It's quite unfortunate in that respect. As we get into another timeout here, we'll have a look at the money. 3 weapons were saved by the Big squad. It's going to be an AWP, make it 2 of them for Smooya and Tabson. They have got a couple of rifles here, so the money's not a huge factor for them. They definitely can buy with the saved weaponry, but now time is map because there's not much left of it. 13-8 down on the T-sided maps. Kenny S is playing out of his mind. He's homing in on a 30 bomb with 29 kills. There's not really much you can do when he gets in this mode. There's not many tactics you can deploy to stop him on a map like Cash when he's hitting absolutely everything.
Kenny has had some of the most memorable, jeez, Henry, don't pull my tongue again, moments on this stage, going back to both the highs and lows. Obviously was heartbroken in 2015 after what was one of the most legendary French shuffles leading up to, I think, probably the one to match that would be this G2 formation last year and what was supposed to be the dream team, but he's also won here before and he's looking to be solid and try and push through. Thompson's going to do the same though with the AWP on the opposing side. The second one, you called it, because they've got two, and that's going to catch them off. tabseN's able to catch out Kenny immediately. He's out to Shocks as well. Great start the round for Big as they look for their 9th.
This is much better now, looking for their first round on the board. Next will contribute as well. tabseN getting it done in A main. That secondary orb, that's not going to be holding back like a turret. That's up close and personal, but he definitely overcommits there. No reason to give up a kill, but it should be absolutely fine still. They've got a 4-on-2 lead. Just a bit of a shame to give up the AWP when it wasn't exactly necessary. Next, looking good now. Quite a quiet performance of him. Haven't said his name too much. 12 kills. Not exactly lacking too far behind the rest of his teammates. Existence now left in a 4 versus 1. His objective, make this round as expensive as possible. You can see the money on the left-hand side of the screen. Big are not financially stable right now. Every kill he finds will cost him dearly and really have a knock-on effect as Big don't need to hunt for any frags. 40 seconds, wait for him to commit towards a bomb site, and hopefully one player can go down, you can trade him out at the very worst.
Best case bomb plan for G2. Even that looks unlikely. There's money enough, don't get me wrong, but it definitely deepens their pockets, which benefits them if this gets further. It's Big again, looking for their 9th. Double digits are certainly achievable as Next takes him down. No chance he'll get inside of the site. Starting to slow down a little bit now. Nonetheless, it's the double op setup to be held again.
It absolutely is. It worked out tremendously well before, but can they continue that success? One more round will break down the cash flow of G2 as tabseN wants to do it once more. We saw Existence try this one out, but tabseN does it to much greater effect. Nice work. AWP takes down Kenny, who's playing very well indeed. So that's a nice 5-on-4 to find. Shoxy just trying to take away the AWP so they have it available to them if he wants to use it. He'll just be holding up there. tabseN knows he's done his job at this point. That's the kind of plays you want to look for on a map like Cash. Getting stuck in, getting that first kill, then you can fall back. That's the job done. You don't need to keep applying the pressure or even hold towards that A main position.
Meanwhile, Smith's over top in mid already. Takes some damage, goes over the flames. That might catch Smooya off. Apparently not. He's blinded up. Smooya makes no mistake in hitting the shot. That'll drop the bomb as well. He hit the bomb that far up toward White Box. You could certainly go over top of the hut and try and pursue Smooya, but that's exactly why Next gets the position that he does and holds from Z connector.
2 great picks so far from Big, but Body, he's going to crack open the B site at this point. That is completely open, but unfortunately the bomb has gone down towards middle. It's up to Shoxy to recover it. Smooya doesn't need to be in those positions, but luckily tabseN, he'll be at the white boxes to secure the round by the looks of things. Body can't do anything, and it's a nice clean round there from Big. Only 2 kills given up. Smooya with 2 frags with the bloodlust for the last one, but absolutely fine. You can see the money now getting to a difficult point as G2 will call for the timeouts. They've got 5 grand on Kenny, and with this sort of lead, I'd say they don't have to force it. That could be a really disastrous choice for them. tabseN will show us how perfect that pick was. His teammate flashed in as he's getting boosted up, so as they're recovering from the flashbang, hiding behind the box, he's got a bird's eye view of all of them. Really nice stuff there. Simple yet effective. The flashbang is everything in that little play. We didn't see that from G2, I don't think. It was just Existence going in by himself. And that's what Big have been known for, that synergy, that flashbang, just the little nuances like that. As tabseN gets a pat on the shoulders, he need to keep him happy. He's the one finding these big picks. He's actually very integral. Is this a force buy? Smiths has gone all in. Okay then. He's gone down to $0. He's the only one to do so. And he only gets a CZ and helmet for it. So everyone else will stay around the $2,000 mark. They've only got second stage loss bonus, so they'll only get $2,400 into next. He needs a bomb plant this round. As they'll boost 1 player towards middle to look for any close range CTs. It looks like a B split setup from what I can see right now. Smith's flashing towards middle to allow his teammates to try and get towards those vents, and indeed the B split will come through. Nice shot from tabseN. Smooya though with the MP9, great position to shut this one down, but it can't get anything done.
Good overwhelms. Shock's Body, Smiths. all inside of the side. Kenny's only gotten the other kill, though. That's surprisingly the only other one that they get to go their way as he takes down Goppy. Bomb was dropped in the process, so it's not yet been grabbed and recovered in a position to plant. They have got a smoke to hold it off. Kenny getting the M4, brings it to a 2 versus 2, and in doing so is now going to get the bomb as well. Tizzy in, oh, this is clever. The incendiary, if he gets it in now. Kenny's not well enough that he can withstand the damage. He didn't land. He bounced it back on top of the balcony. I think he missed. It clipped the doorway. That could have been denying in the bomb in itself.
That was actually really important. I don't know how that happened or if that's even possible, but he's Molotoved himself out of position. CTs have got kits, but that slowed them right down here. They've got to wait as the bomb gets to the halfway point. 2 terrorists to find. They'll smoke one of them off. That's Kenny. Both of them towards Checkers, and they're low HP here. And next will find the first kill. Surely that's it, and Kenny will be traded out. A little bit scary for them. Next hasn't got a kit. Is he defusing right now?
He better be on it. He is. He's on it on my screen. He's just, oh, he doesn't.
No, I don't
he doesn't
think
have
he has
time.
it.
He doesn't have time. G2's going to pull it back. 14 rounds. Oh, my goodness.
There was a kit. Surely one of them had a kit there. He really went down to the wire there. That was risky. That could have cost him the game.
Just barely gets, yeah, that's as close as you'll ever get again. We've seen so many close in this tournament, but that brings it to 13-11, a timeout immediately called. They nearly get away with it because stacking up toward Checker, they were not ready for Kenny to double peek from that position.
That was scary. Remember, that was not the force buy from G2, that was their eco. But Big won't be too worried about that. They win the round. Thanks to this man in your screen right here. It wasn't the cleanest finish in terms of the defuse, but he got the job done. That was the trade out. And he went for the full defuse. And I think there was a kit behind him. But still, he wins the round, so it's not even a factor here. But still, too close for comfort. He could see the chase of the blue bar against the red. I don't think that could be closer, really. When the light starts flashing like that, you've got milliseconds. Tabson maybe saying, there's a kit behind you, bro. Should have got it, but it's all fine.
Just wanted to make it exciting for everyone in the building, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's going to be 13-11, the double orb set up again. Body will go on the Mac 10. I assume that was because Smiths couldn't afford. He said, yeah, I can use the SMGs. He actually is quite cheesy like that. He likes using the Mac 10s. We're going for a sort of B-rush here, Matt. All 5 players, and Smooya dealing with them well. God B will chime in at the same time, and it's a solid defense so far. Now a 3 versus 2, but Smiths is very low on HP.
Yeah, the Essential was not going down toward the vents. They got the smoke off to buy themselves a little bit of space, but you're right, the low HP could cost Smiths. Instead, they flash. They'll boost up. Utility yet deployed. Nade at the ready. This time, Smiths is the one to plant. He can still go down. Oh, the nade. That's twice they've missed the opportunity. That one won't. But the bomb is still planted, so give Existence a bit of hope. Actually, we'll go all the way back around toward B main specifically. Tizzy into hold. They're going to wrap behind him. They know that he's likely toward the Checkers. Maybe they go toward Vet. Instead, it's a deep flash to get back in position. Existence is able to catch off Tizzy and before such time that it blinds him. They can also reset. That won't allow him to peek, but he can still see the bomb from the left side. Next knows exactly which side he has to peek from, however. And we've got a 1-round game.
Existence reached into the tactical sack and brought out a B-rush. Smooya and Godby ready and waiting. Mowed them down. It was competitive towards the end, but still it's Big. They continue to look promising here after going down 6-0. They've now got 4 rounds in a row. Tabson, 21 frags. Smooya had a great second half here. He's now reached 20. Next 17, Godby 16. It's only Tizian on 5, but that doesn't matter too much. He's got 4 players around him doing very well. Round 26, and this time it's Smooya's turn to get a little bit more aggressive this time. Using the smoke at the start. He'll push round, and this is brave. Takes a lot of balls to pull this one off. When you know you've got Kenny S on the other side of the server. It's Body anticipating as I look at his crosshair placement. It's absolutely divine, but it will be Smooya still to take him down. Not falling for any of those tricks. 5 versus 4, Big. Looking pretty indomitable in the last few rounds.
Yeah, they've definitely turned things around. Extremely sharp, shutting down everything that G2 can throw at them. Next will hold up close in mid. Once again, he's been, unlike Kenny, which, I was going to say he's been really dominant in this position. He gets tagged up this time, not down though, so still a chance in it. Molotov will force him forward. Unlike Kenny, what we saw in the first half and what you mentioned, he's not as mobile with that AWP, so he hasn't been going toward A main. He hasn't been playing in mid quite so much. definitely more of a homestay at B, but they've been able to bring out that second knob in the hands of Tabson, and he's still been formidable toward the A main position as well.
Really enjoyed his AWP. It's been fantastic to watch, but Smiths, that was not. He gets caught by the close range position of Next, and he extends their lead. 5 against 3 now. 30 seconds remaining as Smooya. That's a really nice play. Throw that incendiary in, lock the door. They're not going anywhere as GoldB tries to capitalize, maybe a slight overcommitment, but a decent idea. And Next, that's not required. My God, they're applying pressure to Smooya now. But Tizian, he's had a quiet game so far, but maybe that kill saves the round.
15 seconds. Desperate to get the bomb down, they can no longer focus on the vents, and they'll get caught by Tabson, who already had position above. Kenny gets desperate. Back over. What? Why is he trying to knife? Insult to injury at that point, Smooya. I'm not really convinced by it, but they'll get the round. He knew his teammates would bail him out eventually.
So Next defused the bomb in that infamous round with 0.2 seconds remaining. So yes, that was a little bit of squeaky bum times, what we'd say in the UK.
Yeah. You say some strange things.
We do, and it will be round 27. I think it has to be the
Speaking of saying things in UK, Smooya's become a little bit of a villain lately, hasn't he?
He has. He's trying to make a name for himself, and I guess...
He's an eager young man.
Yeah, exactly. I respect it. That's the way he wants to present himself. That's cool. Not something I would advocate, but, you know, each their own. Either way, we'll have CZs here, P250s. This is the partial buy with the maximum loss bonus coming through. They'll have a buy next, but... Big on the cusp of taking the lead once again. Great nade coming in, does a bucket load of damage to 3 players. Smokes coming in though, an execution of sorts, but GoldB ready and waiting on the side, trying to look above the smokes. I love this position, but he might be called out.
Yeah, it's the timing that might catch him, not the position, but he gets away with it. Manages to vanish back inside of the smoke. How is Smiths going all the way around? And GoldB paying so far back, he's not able to spot them players running through. Smiths is able to get a kill immediately, but they've not detected Tizian, who's worked his way through the vents and quickly dispose of Smiths. As a result, that gives up the gig, but it takes back the gun. Good flash in. Kenny.
What happened there?
One, I don't know. Next should have been able to trade that more effectively. Still gets the kill in the end. He'll drop down to behind body, and Shocks falls next. G2. They've given up the lead. It's big to pull back 14 rounds.
A scary, scary round there for Big. I think Next got caught by the flash towards the vents and checker rooms there, so he couldn't be as efficient with the trade, but he made up for it. Great swing out of the vents, eventually gets the first kill, and this is the one that really matters, to find body. 14-13, Tabson to finish the round off there. That was the partial buy, remember, from G2. Frustration setting in for Kenny. 35 frags for him. He can't do much more here.
This is reminiscent now of Cologne 2015. He was dominant in the final of that major. It was still a major back then, and yet they lost, and he was in tears because he played his absolute heart out, and it wasn't enough.
Well, do or die time. This is Big's map pick. It looked certain that G2 are running away with him, and now 6 rounds in a row against him. They were 6-0 up. It's 6-6 in the second half. Round 28. We are going to get in the full distance here. As Kenny S does have the AWP, but no Kevlar, or no helmet, I should say, because that makes him very vulnerable to those M4s.
Shocks once again holds out toward the door. He's gone there so many times, but yet they've not really been able to accomplish much with him in that position. In fact, even when they took the A site, he went down on multiple occasions. White box boost mid to try and spot Highway. None other than Kenny S, who has an AWP facing his direction. That second one we talked about in Tabson, he's flashed off the angle. It's almost like long corner on Dust 2, where if you want the op to pick, you almost don't want that flash there.
Yes, it's going to push the AWP back, and you get no chance of the pick, right? But either way, it's not looked good for G2 in the last few rounds, and this might be no different whatsoever. Great incendiaries coming through, but the spam not quite enough there. Existent might find a couple of frags here. An entry and an advantage for G2 as the bomb desperately tries to be planted as Kenny S to put it down, but Smooya still alive and kicking with GoldB. They played the bomb site together on the other side of the map.
I don't know if I agree with Existence picking up the second op in this. Okay, never mind. I was going to say why when you've already got Kenny on one, but he gets toward quad, nearly got spotted by Smooya in doing so. And I don't know that he's really going to give this much of a chance. He knows that it's going to be a reset, but it also is going to be 14-14. Smooya wants his AWP. Kenny's got his, and we've got a tie game. Shocks will go down in pursuit.
Well, well, well. It did take an Existence 3K. He's had a very, very quiet game. That's only his 12th frag. And the money map, how is it that low? These rounds have been so dicey, and with the partial buys of G2, sure, they're not winning them, but they're just chipping away every single kill they get, and I think the saved orb, this could be the deciding moment now. G2 might not even be aware of how much advantage they have here. One orb, and they're gonna have to take a timeout here, surely, because they got about $2,000 on average. There's the timeout.
In the 4 rounds that they lost out of the 5 in a row, the last 4 had at least 3 kills, so there was a lot of reinvestment required.
Okay, so let's talk about their options right now. You could force buy at this point. Try and go for map point first. You could have the orb, you could have SMGs, maybe a couple of FAMASs at best. Or you take the P250s with the AWP combo. That's almost giving map point to G2, but you'll have money to be competitive, and the idea will just be save the orb going forward. The other option is take full eco with Smooya, and maybe he can win the round single-handedly. You'll have to do something absolutely ungodly to pull this one off, and I'm having a look at the decisions map. I can confirm, ladies and gentlemen, Big are going for it. They're putting every single dollar they've got into round number 29.
Wow.
They're gonna try and take this to G2. If this doesn't work out, it's pretty much GG. They'll have $1,900 for the next round.
And this is strictly due to the op. This is similar to what an IP used to say. Sometimes if a gun's left, teams are baited into buying, but it's their only chance if they want to try and utilize it. Smooya this time toward mid. Existence is already out as well. He's up toward the white box. Has Smooya had any indication of that? Because if he doesn't swing wide, Existence is going to arrive directly in front of him. In fact, he's about to throw a smoke. AWP at the ready instead. He's still peeking. It's a tight enough angle that he could still hit Existence, whether he means to or not. If he's looking at him or he's ready or not, he still finds the shot.
They knew where Smooya was. You can hear the scope clicking. Existence even called for the flashbang to go in. And I'm sorry, this didn't look like he was ready for it. Very slow, like clunky movement when he goes in towards the connector. Smooya just removes him. And it will be now 14-14, and the opening pick going in favor of Big there. Smooya knows he has to perform in this round, and he's funneled them in towards B. He's ready and waiting. Drops the smoke and now focused towards checkers if he likes as he rotates over towards the bomb site now. Got B with him. This is looking promising, man. I actually like the look of this. They're getting all this information on the other side of the map. They've locked him in towards B, but the Molotov's successful. He's blind as well. Oh. Won't cost him his life, but he's down to 11 HP.
Yeah, and part of that came from Spray. The last bit of the damage came, oh my goodness, Nex through the edge of the box. Nex has turned things around. Smith's is stuck in the corner. Shox managing at least one, but this all in play from Big might pay off as Shox tries to go aggressive in return. 24 seconds, bomb down. A low HP still on Smooya. Headshot angle, oh goodness me. But Tapson responds with the trade, and it's map point for Big.
That is such a brilliant play from Big. Everything was just spot on there. Smooya holds his nerve against the aggression right up towards that connector in middle. And then the information gathered. The confidence to push in towards A main and call that no one is there meant they could get all their players over towards the B site. I'm sorry, Existence should have got that kill. That was his. 15-14, Big swing things back in their favor, and Smooya, he ain't done just yet. He's gonna be pushing in towards B storage. He's hungry for more. Just loving the environment. Final round, G2. If ever there was a team to pull it off with 2 AKs and 3 CZs, they would probably come to mind as a bit of a French special. But Smooya once again with that intel all the way in towards Sunroom. They can now solely focus on the A site. He can hold absolutely everything towards B from this position.
Useless becomes more useful for Smooya at this point in time, because all he has to do is catch them off in transition back in that direction. The fact that Goppy spotted one going toward the vents is fine. It may actually encourage Smooya, because if they are going to try and take vents, they're likely to try and take over B main in the process, as well as Goppy stays very passive. No need to overcommit. He goes down, he opens up middle, and then it might be the opposite problem as they head toward A. But the forward stance and his position, his passive position, now the pick paying off. They can also stack up inside of the A site with 3 players aggressively. Smooya's got a bit of a shooting gallery, but he's not exactly hitting shots. Kenny's got a shot in return. AWP for Kenny. Existence has got B down. Sight wide open, and those 3 men from A are suddenly running as fast as they can.
It was looking so good for Big Map. They've got a chance. Nex has been playing incredibly well on the CT side, and the bomb not planted, and it might take a little while yet. Shox has got to be brave as he crosses over to the site. They don't have anything to block off the vision from Heaven.
Smart play from Shox as well. It was already engulfed upon the default position, so he elects to go behind the box. He could withstand any further utility unless it was a double nade, which they didn't have to work with. You're right, they can't take away vision. So tabseN will try and take advantage of that fact. Spams into the corner and desperate measure to try and hope and catch out even damage at this point. Anything to encourage the retake, which they must go for in round 30. Kenny, his obligation clear. Hold toward Heaven. Shox that's gonna swing out. He's got Smiths to work with. tabseN, nothing he can do on the AWP. We've got more rounds to go.
Similar heartbreak to what we saw yesterday for Big. So close yet so far. This is their map pick. They were up against 3 pistols, 2 AKs. They had B control. Smooya, he gets the first kill. Couldn't find anything more, and at that point it just erupted. G2 capitalized on the missed shot. And there we have it. Everything's reset at this point. We don't swap teams. It's going to be 16k MR3. And Shox to close things out. Why not with the M4A4? A really chaotic game. That's what we'd love to see on the big stage here. People showing that they're nervous and not looking 100%. And it comes down to the scrappy sort of rounds and just those split-second decisions, the pushes that look so good. If you miss a single shot in CS map, it can punish you for absolutely everything. Like we said, 16k, and Big was so good at that double orb setup. Presume that's where they go, and indeed they will. Smooya and tabseN, first to 19, 18, and we'll do it all over again. It's got B, flashed off at the start, retreats, and he has got Smooya behind him to cover.
Kenny with a passive hold. Smoke still down toward A main, and Nex has gotten inside of the corner. Shox hasn't necessarily heard that. He would have when he dropped back down off of the Cinders. But Nex is pushed so far forward. So much information. Tizian's just going to watch the door behind it, knowing that Shox is on default in that position. tabseN hasn't rotated off of middle yet, but CTs can certainly be confident in GodB's position, playing off of Smooya, given that they've got nowhere else they can be really on the map other than B main at this point in time. Seconds. Good find. Smiths gets Nex. Pushed up. Tizian's going to resume that, though, so that might be a bigger problem if they don't expect the second. Sure, they go down a man early, but with 2 players running directly toward him, smoke down, he's in the corner. Do they expect to have more than one there? Absolutely not. Tizian! Oh my! He somehow missed the shot when he jumped back up. Thankfully, tabseN's in the side, and GodB's pushed out through middle, because that could have all fallen apart all too easily. It's just a one-man advantage, but the HP and the time certainly favors toward Big, as tabseN misses the shot but wraps back around. Bomb will be planted, but only just. Good, no scope, looks for a second, can't get it. 4 HP versus Smooya on an AWP. He misses a shot, and this AK can certainly prevail, but he does not miss often.
Smooya rising to the occasion here on the stage. Another clutch victory for himself. 25 kills on the board. And that's going to be an early lead here for Big, but tabseN, don't forget about him. What an amazing performance there. He's been stellar on the secondary AWP.
AWP's nice, I like
AWP, he's been absolutely fantastic. And you can see tabseN, Nex, Smooya, all hovering around 25 kills. Great work by that little trio. GodB's had his moments as well. Don't forget the last round of the first half. Kenny S, 37 kills. We get into the second round here. Obviously going to run with that double orb setup. Why not? It's looked so successful. 1-0 as Existence bravely makes his way out. Completely destroys Tizian, but the follow-up grenade is decent. CT's maintaining the 4-on-4. One player sneaking up towards Highway. That's Smiths. Oh my goodness, how didn't that hit? Looked like it was dead on from tabseN. He actually takes the orb bullet in response, but keeps hitting with the AWP. An absolute beast with the weapon.
7 players and 4 ops. At this point in time on the map, as Kenny has one of them, as always. You'd expect that. He's hoping to get a gift as he holds toward white box, but the antithesis of wanting is waiting, and they can't really afford to wait, being a man down. A minute to play with. They've got some time, but CT's in return, and likewise do not need to overextend. So a trio as they'll gather themselves inside of middle. Like Did to go back to an AK to accompany Kenny. Goppy spots Kenny though. Op goes down on the T side. G2 looking like they could lose both of the opening rounds in overtime. Good response from Shock. Swift enough that he's able to get toward the vents with 32 seconds, and Body's already in position towards Sunroom, and now they converge. So far, no smoke. That'll be bounced. Flash as well. Next, no chance, but Smooya is still holding it. Next decides he's not going to be sitting back. He wants through, and they'll make it work out perfectly.
G2 starting to drop off now. And then getting near the plant. Great stuff from the defense. 2-0 now. He's running that clock right down, holding them out, the utility so well. The split attempt there from G2. Smooya and next to shut them down. It's been pretty much the storyline towards that side of the map. Final attempt here for G2 to post a single round on the board. All for Kenny, of course. He gets 16k money. Not really a factor here. Bomb still down in T-Spawn, so Jets, they're going to be doing something a little bit more slower. As we'll get into. Another default hold. Tabson, this time with the AWP holding at the mid connector. There he is. Shock's alone at the squeaky door. I'm sure if it's open, just trying to listen out for footsteps, any sort of cues he can get.
He's been there many, many times. As we say, though, they haven't really been able to take advantage of that. They haven't been able to get a solid A execution often at all on this. Goodness me. CT side. I don't need ears, Henry.
Yeah, they're overrated anyway.
No one listens to me anyway.
It is going to be
definitely not this Cathedral of Counter-Strike.
Mid-take from G2 here. Tabson will be holding up now towards Highway. Kenny hasn't looked as high-flying as he once was. Tabson's almost stolen the show from him. Might do again. The flick doesn't connect. 30 seconds now. And it has to be the A split, but Nex's position is just perfect. Has he got a smoke still? He's got an incendiary. This is why Big are playing so well in this tournament. The utility usage is sublime. It's still a 3 versus 3, but Smiths has lost the bomb. It's back and forth, but a struggle for G2. And Existence holding the connector now.
He was so hoping that they would head that direction because they still have to recover the bomb. Kenny just barely gets there in time with the smoke. He's still going to work back in. Default position, 7 seconds to hold the plant, but it's not wide open toward A main. Oh, does he hear Goppy? He certainly does. He's going to try and use the edge of the smoke to his advantage to negate any possible for doubling the angle, but Goppy is too damn smart. He swings back, and Existence is so far away. Goppy has realized based on timing, but what a shot from Existence. Does he suddenly expect that the second player is coming from CT because he easily could have covered his cross? Instead, he's allowed him to get toward the bomb. AWP taps it, wants to bait him out. Knows he's in the air, but can't find the shot this time, Smooya. Still, though, he will hold it. He might go for brains over Braun. Swings out, and Existence has other ideas. We at least get around for G2 before we split out in overtime.
It looked like they were absolutely done for there, G2. How Nex and Co has still got incendiary smokes and flashbangs at that stage of the round with 30 seconds remaining just blows my mind. But still, the individual prowess from G2 does yield them one round. Smooya, it looked like he was going to convert another 1v1. That shot, as Existence jumped up, normally he would connect that, but a rare miss from him does come through, and it does give G2 at least a lifeline here. They switch over to the CT side now. It's 2-1 overall. And they'll be going for a single AWP setup. They do have double AWP potential on this team. Remember, Shoxy used to AWP with Kenny way back in a different G2 lineup. Smiths, I'm not sure if he'll be picking up the AWP again. But for now, single AWP setup for the French squad. One player towards B storage. Make it 2, Smooya and Nex. His body will have a passive hold here. Smiths on the back of the site. Shoxy alone in middle, but he has got backup from Existence if required. Kenny spotting utility. And remember, he had so much freedom in this position, but lucky the smoke is down now.
Jumps up, good play. Wasn't sure that he was going to get away with it, but Existence forced to turn away based on utility. Kenny can't hit a shot either. This gives them the site to work with. It'll give them map point as well in overtime. Another chance to try and close it. Smiths, meanwhile, cutting off The salesman over toward B. That buys them a bit more space because now that Gobby's got Kenny, they know Smiths is nowhere nearby. This is done. There's no chance Smiths pulls this back. He's got everything he needs, every tool in his arsenal. Kit, smoke, incendiary, flash.
He's just hoping for the miracle 1 versus 4. It's overtime, money's not really a thing. I agree with you though, I don't think he's got much chance of even finding a kill here. I say that as next going down, so decent start, but so much to do. 3 kills and a bomb defused. It's already halfway gone.
I don't understand the point of Tabson going hunting for this point because money's not a factor. Just stay near the bomb. The fact that they went so far away, if he actually got 2 kills in the A site, there was a chance he could have defused that based on their positioning. That was an unnecessary risk the Big just took. They'll get away with it, sure, but that could have actually fallen apart.
I think it was fine. 1v4 against Smiths, I think it was going to be cool. But either way, double AWP set up on the T side. You can do this in overtime, and you can just purchase the AWP, throw an AK on the floor. We saw them doing on Inferno yesterday, I believe. There's Gob and Nex head towards that position. It's Gobby with the secondary AWP. We'll see whether he can open things up. He's actually looked quite impressive on the AWP at times. And yes, has to win every single round here. He's not going down without a fight. 2 AWP kills as Smiths picks up the secondary AWP as well. Not Shoxy, I take that back. So it will be a 5-on-3. It's obviously big, a map point right now, just to reiterate that. We'll see whether Smooya can pull this one. Doesn't look like it'll be possible, but there's the opener.
Finally, after Kenny already found 2, Shox gets next. It's just Smooya remaining. You're right, it is Smiths on the second AWP. Used to be a primary opera back in the day. Minute and 10, bomb down in middle. Available to Smooya as well. So I know he's there. He's made a lot of noise. No need to get caught off in another one-on-one. Molotov's a problem for him because it's going to buy further time in which they can close down on his position rather than him grabbing the bomb and trying to isolate. Best chance was obviously to head toward B, but they still know he's there.
So he needs to get that bomb, and Smiths has got him locked in towards B. He's already useless right now.
Did he not realize the bomb's on the other side of the box? I don't think he didn't realize it. He thought it was in the other side of the garage. That's why he was peeking.
Oh, so
bomb was in the corner on the inside of the garage.
Bit of misleading CSGO radar, perhaps. That's, it was unlikely for him to do much of that anyway, but you are right. Either way, it will still be map point for Big, but 1 round away for G2 to take us to double overtime. So, next round coming in, final round of overtime here, at least the first set. And Smooya and co close things out. Kenny finds 40th kill. Smoke towards the mid-entrance of the start. Smooya going to be challenged here, but he'll rise to it. Takes down Smiths. That was the secondary AWP trying to replicate some of the things Smooya was doing in the first half. And now we have it 5 versus 4. That point, Big have the advantage. There's so much time, Matt. 1 minute 30 as they completely CTs out now and get some intel.
Rotation back toward A from both Existence and Shox. Slide boost. And again, Existence task is immediately to step out from underneath the Shox and watch off that doorway. Door's certainly open. Smoke down means he actually doesn't have to go as far because he won't be able to see anything anyway, so that means he can hold Shox up a little bit longer. And they are slowly heading in that direction. Bomb in the hands of Gobby will be the first to peek from lockers. Utility suggests A is the certainty. Not wrong. 2 boosted as well. They're going to go through mid-body. Now has to be careful. Boost inside of the site. He's got to be the one to watch Highway. Can't do it. He's taken out immediately. And therefore, they have to give up on the boost because Shox knows they're going to be working in behind him. Tizzy in from the door gets both. And bomb will be planted as Kenny is left in a 1 versus 4 to try and save the map. Good first shot of the CZ. Gives him time to get the AWP ready. But he's only got 19 HP. Paper cuts at this point to take him down. I don't know what the truck did, but it's blinded now. Kenny wants to get around the corner. AWP ready, finds one. My God, he's good when he's on. 19 HP may not matter if he can continue to find fine shots such as that. Ooh. Looks for the no-scope, Nex is ready. And Berlin International Gaming find map 1.
Fantastic way to kick things off here in Cologne. First map goes in favor of the hometown heroes. An epic game. Scrappy and chaotic, just the way we like it in the arena. And it's G2 And give up the first map. It was Big's pick. We move on to Dust 2 next, and the pace is only going to increase at that point. It's fast-paced, it's frantic, and spawn-based as well. And it's good to see players like Next, Smooya stepping up. Maybe they can give Kenny a challenge on the next map.
Well, we'll see. Dust 2, both are very good, and both are looking very good. I'm looking forward to the ops. We're looking forward to a break, and the next map. We'll see you in a minute. Through, and they'll make it work out perfectly.